third Pierce when I played this deck, so it's a lot of spell pierces, but I think it plays pretty well with the 4 mentors. And
Oh yeah.
I've also been generally impressed by it over Fluster just because of the number of interesting game one things that you run into, whether it's Ether Vial when you're on the play or Chalice and sneak attack. There's just so many different things. So
I mean, I've gotten got by Spell Pierce so many times when I'm playing just all the random things that I tend to be playing these days. Where it's like, all right, I feel pretty safe, and ooh,
yeah,
didn't factor that one into the equation.
no, exactly. Yeah, there was some interesting chatter in a Miracles chat about Palace Jailer, which was actually sort of interesting.
Ooh, in Miracles?
Yeah.
See, like, the last thing I want as a D&T player is, like, the Miracles player to have the crown. It's,
Right.
like, so terrifying. Palace Jailer is, like, always a card that wins someone the game. It's just
That's right.
not always you.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've played a lot of Cube in the last few months, and Palace Jailer just way overperforms people's expectations. I mean, the Monarch is just nuts in that format. So
I mean, I think it's nuts by legacy standards, too. I
it
mean,
is. It's very good.
I've
Yeah.
tested some shameful cards that have the word Monarch on them to see if anything else can replicate it. So there's that land. It's, I think, something of the High City.
Yeah, Throne. I think Throne of the High
Yeah,
City.
Throne of the High City. It goes and gives you Monarch. I tried playing that in TNT, and it didn't work, but
Yeah, that's inexpensive. If it was maybe like 1 mana less, because I think it's like 4 tap and sack it.
yeah, I'd be all over it if it was just a tiny bit less expensive.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There was, I don't remember her name. There was some woman at, it was either a Star City event or a GP sometime in the last year that was just playing a Monarch deck. That was
Oh,
like, she
really?
was wearing a tiara and committing fully to it, and she just had like so many cards that made her the pretty princess, and it was great.
That's awesome.
Ooh, we've got a question for you already. How many bits to invest in Cardboard Live?
Hello, Hondo Trigger. How's it going? You can invest. You can actually invest, which is I'm sure which is why this person is asking this question on a platform called Republic for as little as $10.
Yeah, I looked into it. It's kind of cool. It's not quite stocks, but it's almost stocks conceptually speaking. So
Yeah, I mean, and since if we're just sort of killing time for a couple minutes, I know you had sort of explained that to some people, and I wanted to maybe give a few more details. So basically, what a crowd safe is like it converts to equity if there's either we raise more money or we sell the company and there's like some sort of acquisition. So a lot of times startups and what we are trying to do but can't really put out there in writing on the crowdfund page is raise a lot more money for the startup to take it to the next level. So what we'll do is when those investors set a valuation, the people that invest in this crowd safe either get that valuation at a discount, which is 15%, or they get the cap valuation, which is 9 million if those people set a valuation that is higher than 9 million. So it like sort of takes this future event and factors in some sort of like better deal than that future event for the investors. And at that point, it converts into equity.
it's one of these things. If you sit down and read an explanation, it's actually not all that tricky. But when
Right.
you look at it the first time, it's like, oh, I don't quite get what's going on here.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, because what I just had to say was pretty wordy, so it's like even though it's not like super tricky, it's still like it's not normal, because it's not like a public offering of stock. So it's spelled it's republic.co. So if you're typing in like republic.com, I assume that's probably the problem. But yeah, it's the first spelling that you have. It's just the regular word republic, Hondo.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and launch into things, and
Okay.
let's see where this goes. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy, death, and taxes. Though we're pretty far from that today. Tonight we are going to be playing some miracles. Specifically, we're going to be playing a sort of aggressive shell with a whopping 4 monastery mentors. And to make sure that I don't butcher this league, I have Wilson Hunter with me for some help. He's got 2 GP
Hello.
top 8s to his name, as well as a Star City Games Invitational top 4. And until recently, when he started focusing more on Cardboard Live, he had Silver Pro status. So hi, Wilson. How are you doing tonight?
I am great. Thank you for having me here.
Happy to
Uh,
have you here.
we are playing a few more white creatures than normal, which I was thinking would make you happy, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Like, we got Monastery Mentor. That makes a lot of white creatures. Like, we might end up with a creature count similar to D&T creature counts. So, like,
That's right.
I'm A-okay with that.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm excited to play this deck. So, as if anybody has seen me play other decks or knows anything about me, they know I love Monastery Mentor. So,
All right. So, like, obviously, Miracles is a deck that's been around for a long time. And I don't think we need to do a deck tech from the ground up. This is a relatively hard control deck. That's pretty clear. Why don't you talk to us just about a couple of the specific choices that are making this version of Miracles different from some other things we might see floating around?
absolutely. So, maybe let's talk about what's here and what's not here. So, some things that are here that you might not see in other people's lists are the whopping 4 Monastery Mentor. And that sort of allows us to make some other changes to that. So, you see 3 Spell Pierce. A lot of that is decided because of the 4 Monastery Mentor, 2 Counterspell, a lot of reactive cards. In the current iteration of Miracles, I really like a lot of these instant speed interactive cards with accumulated knowledge in the deck, because you're able to have a lot of options, hold up a lot of cards on your opponent's turn. And the reason why I really like Monastery Mentor maxing out on it in a deck like Miracles is I sometimes play Miracles like almost like a combo deck. It's almost like combo control. And you can really pick your spots with Mentor. And if you hit it at the right time, you don't even have to play this don't die long game. You can almost knock them out in the mid game with a Mentor, which is pretty sweet. So Mentor can stabilize, it can kill, it can do a lot of different things other than just be your sort of typical control finisher, which is what I really like about it.
Yeah. So actually, the first time I played Wilson, he played Miracles vastly differently from anyone else I had ever played on the deck. We were at a little hole in the wall shop in Tennessee, and I think top 4 of a Legacy IQ or something like that. And he just like no fear taps out for a Mentor on turn 3, and I just like look at him and I'm like, really,
Yeah.
really? And we had a great conversation afterwards. How I thought he really should have saved it till later to like really string together some cantrips and try to just get me over the course of a turn or two. And his theory was like, no, we're just gonna tap out for this Mentor, and if there's not an immediate answer for it, I am going to win the game. And
That's right.
this deck is really built with that philosophy in mind.
Yeah, you get to do that a little bit more when you're not concerned about wasting a copy if the downside's there for you. So it's sort of a math game where if the upside is it's so great, where if you're untapping with it, you're actually probably winning, and the downside is maybe a slight tempo loss, and you're sort of back to where you were on your following turn, then that's sort of a great sub game to put your opponent in. So I do really like doing the do you have removal test often in the mid game with this type of list. And like I said, it's really about picking your spots. And if you're not under a ton of pressure from your opponent as well, but there's like maybe a mana advantage situation where they're not going to EOT kill the Mentor or something like that, there's a good opportunity to do that, I think.
All right. The stuff that's in the sideboard here is relatively stock. Although it's probably worth mentioning, many Miracles decks these days have the back to basics in the main deck. But since we're kind of changing the texture of our plan and interaction a little bit, we just don't have room for those.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is the number of threes. If we were to jam back to basics and 4 Mentors and still have like a catch-all, like either a Council's Judgment or explosives in the main, I think the list would start to get a little bit more clunky. So that's really the reason why they're in the sideboard.
Yeah. And I think the last thing that really catches my attention about the list is this is playing Preordain over Portent. And this is kind of for the synergy with Mentor. You really want to be able to just chain through cantrips that can draw that card immediately when like you're really relying on a slightly more aggressive plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also playing the 4th Preordain. So you see a lot of people with 3 of whatever cantrip they choose in that slot, but we're down to 19 lands. I think that's a little bit more normal nowadays. Some people still are playing 20, but we can sort of get away with 19 lands. I don't want to jinx us because we have the 4th Preordain.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we just kind of start jamming some games?
No, I'm excited about it. If you guys see me drinking something, it is kombucha, which is non-alcoholic fermented tea.
I've never had that, but one of my roommates was all about that life.
Yeah, I recently got into it because I'm trying to be a lot healthier, and it's it's good for digestion and helps me curb my appetite a decent amount while not being, like chugging a soft drink. So I don't know, I'm just trying to be a little healthier.
It's hard. It's
It's
hard.
very
It's hard to do it for a prolonged period of time. It's really easy to, be on a kick for a couple of weeks, but to sustain it, it's hard.
oh totally, and I'm a pretty huge fan of food. So let's see, we got a question here in the chat. Yeah, I've noticed it a little bit. This is one of those things in Magic, as I'm about to say this, one of the Miracles players pops in here, where there's a small-ish community of people that play a ton of Miracles. So sometimes if a decision is made, it might seem like a sweeping trend is happening when in reality you can maybe count on your hand the number of people that are trying out Mentor, which is interesting. Like Anurag was just streaming with Mentors in his previous stream earlier this afternoon, and he's one of these guys that usually doesn't play it. Oh, look. Okay. And now he's also popping into the chat. So we got the Miracles cabal here.
The Miracles players cometh.
That's right. He seems to enjoy the shout out. All right. Win the die roll. That's great.
This seems like a fine hand to me. We
Seems
don't
good to
have
me, isn't it?
some nice basics to start on, but other than that, I love everything about this.
Yep. I agree with that.
Oh man, I got Anurag's Twitch Prime money this month. That's impressive.
Oh.
This is what I get for putting Wilson and some Miracles content on this channel instead of derpy white creatures. All right.
Thanks, Anurag.
So, do I just lead on Flooded Strand here, or do I just want to play out a non-basic?
I like to play out the Tundra when you have 3 lands in hand. If we're in this sort of mana denial type of game, it's not really going to be that bad for us if he wants to go Wasteland on the draw. So I like to save the fetch. So sometimes, there's just these very small edges with lands, like if our opponent plays a turn 1 Delver or play any turn 1 creature, but it could be turn 1 Delver and we happen to top deck the Terminus there, we don't really want to use the fetch, we have a Brainstorm in our hand. Sort of the fun thing about playing a deck like this in Legacy, though, is you could really go deep in the tank on thinking about these, even like something like a land drop.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time a couple months ago playing 4-color Loam, and I spent more time thinking about like my first couple of land drops than basically anything else in the deck.
Oh yeah, that deck is the perfect example. It's hugely important.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think if there was a decision to consider a Valk, I think that became not as much of a decision when we drew the Spell Pierce. So
Yeah, I don't want to end of turn Brainstorm yet, right? I don't have information.
I would not do that.
Play the Valk over the second strand so I can counterspell without fetching.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
So where's your mind going right now? What do you think our opponent is?
I'm a little rusty to have a good read here, but this is looking like some sort of fair Grixis type control deck.
I'm all about just spell piercing this.
I think that's a solid choice, particularly that we also have this counter spell in hand, and this is going to be the total value Brainstorm. Opponent didn't really do anything on turn 1, so the read is sort of that the hand is soft, and he really wanted to use that Brainstorm for good value. Yeah, I'm fine just continuing this game of untapping and.
Yeah. I'm fine with casting this.
Okay. This is a sort of interesting one. So I think we want to definitely bottom the Flooded Strand.
That's clear. The Force is trickier because it could set up to play Jace with Force pitch Brainstorm next turn.
Also, what is our read at this point? I think there's a balance of what are the chances of playing Storm versus Grixis. I think I'd keep this conservatively, given that we have a Brainstorm in our hand. So if we see something like a Baleful Strix, we can always, get rid of a card like this if we need to. But like you
I
said,
think the
we have a
upside
Jace.
of having it is great if we're wrong and we're not playing against control. I mean, I think we are.
Okay, well, there's the
Yep.
the named Baleful Strix.
It's not worth a counterspell, right? Like it's just a fly.
Yeah, I wouldn't counterspell that there. I'd let that resolve. So I start to get concerned with things like Hymn to Turok, Liliana, and Jace. This might be a decent spot to brainstorm because I think the swords is really bad, and at this point, I'm not super interested in the Force of Will.
This is fine.
Yeah, what are you thinking here, Phil? I think we definitely put back the swords.
I think it's either Swords Force or Swords Island.
That's exactly what I think. I think I'm okay with Swords Island just because we can expect to be drawing more.
I'd like to have a force if they have a force, you know?
I think it's reasonable, yeah.
And so we don't have back to basics in our list, and our opponent isn't going to have anything like that, not wastelands either, so I can just fetch another Tundra here if I'd like.
This is minor, and these things are all minor, but I would set an upkeep stop and upkeep fetch so that they can't randomly do something around the counterspell. But
yeah, that's fair.
These are things that are usually not going to matter, but.
So just to check, do I want to just get the Tundra, or do I want to leave that in case I need white at a moment's notice to fetch it up?
I think the Tundra is fine here in this situation.
That was my thought as well.
Okay. Okay, so I don't want to jam Jace personally because we have Counterspell, Snapcaster Mage, and a lot of good stuff going on.
All right. So just ponder, see what happens.
Yeah, I think I'd ponder off the Volk.
Yeah. So in game one, we have nothing to do with the red.
So, not really great. The second Jace isn't horrible, but the fact these other cards aren't good, I think that we shuffle.
I think we shuffle. I'd much rather have like a Mentor.
Yeah. No, I think that this is a game where Mentor is going to be solid now that we have a lot of lands and they're not doing very much.
Speak of the devil.
Look at that. Let's credit our chat member, Jide him for calling that.
So, do I just tap out for this here?
I would pass because they're not doing anything and they have 2 lands up. So there's a really bad situation where they can like tempo kill it and then do something on their turn that's hard to deal with and when we don't have counterspell up.
Yeah, so we don't really care about this Baleful Strix pecking us because, like, even as soon as I do something like Snapcaster Spell Pierce or Snapcaster Counterspell,
this is really what we wanted to happen.
This is great for us.
Yeah. So I would just start with the Counterspell, and I think we're going to save the Brainstorm.
Is Counterspell better than Snapcaster Spell Pierce?
Oh, I forgot that we even had that in our graveyard. Yeah, I think Snapcaster Spell Pierce is better here. Good call. Anurag, I just want to use our mana as efficiently as possible. I think that there's a situation in which we can get Mentor down and have Counterspell up, which could be really solid. Notably, this is a nice spot where the Spell Pierce is being better than a Flusterstorm.
You can Fatal Push that Snapcaster all day, friend.
All right.
Deal.
Interesting. I like that they're down to 4 cards that are tapped out. So we definitely want to take advantage of that.
Come
here.
on, land naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
Great.
So are we going for mentor or Jace?
I think I would Jace in this situation, and then whatever happens to Jace, we're set up pretty nicely on the following turn to have a mentor and a counter spell if we can find a land. Jace is good here. So
if I
would,
Fate Seal, then I don't just lose out to something like Lightning Bolt or K Command plus a Strix hit.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting decision though. Like, sort of thinking about this. Yeah, I think Fate Seal is, or maybe Scry.
Yeah, I want to Fate Seal myself for
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's reasonable. Let's go do that. Sort of interesting. I find when I'm like watching somebody play,
I want to keep this, I think, so that I can mentor with Counterspell up next turn.
Yeah, definitely so. But yeah, I was just thinking like when I'm watching somebody else play, it's sort of weird. I don't think this is true for a lot of people, but like I find it sort of harder for me to think about what I would do because there's this like sort of muscle memory intuition when you're the one playing. It's sort of interesting. Okay, I think that we need to force of will this.
Yep.
Pitching a brainstorm. Yay.
Life's good. This is where you want to be. You want to be the blue player with Jace.
This feels great right now.
That's fine. That does not kill Jace. So that might look like a little bit of a loose play, but they saw the Spell Pierce from us, so they might be respecting future copies of Spell Pierce there.
I think that that's an okay play for them. So we do have some decisions here. Because if we want to do the mentor counterspell line, then we need to plus Jace to keep Jace from dying to a Baleful Strix. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about who I want to Fate Seal here, because like if I want to Fate Seal myself, then I really want to preemptively fetch.
Yes, that makes sense. I'm thinking this time around we may want to target them because we're ahead and there's a variety of cards that are going to be obviously better against our board.
I'm going to start by Fate Sealing them before anything else, though, I think.
Let's gives us a little more information. I don't think they have it, but to mentor, right? Because they could force.
Sure, I guess we can mentor first.
If we're going to do that either way. So very minor, but I think I'd mentor first.
Okay. I guess this can still get Volk, so I don't need to fetch with this now. There are 2 Volks, right? Just before I do this.
I think so. Yeah, I'm almost certain.
Oh, that just worked.
Yay. And hope it's land.
I would I think I'd like to bottom that.
Sort of interesting. I think so. I think that we just want to bottom anything that's solid. So let's go ahead and do it because I think I could waste a lot of time over talking about this stuff. But
agreed. I know exactly where you're going with that.
Yeah. But like the fact that they have 5 lands, like the only way that they tempo us is if they have another bolt. That very much likely they could have another bolt in their hand. But now there's a combination of a couple cards that they could use to get sort of back in the game a little bit, whether it's like a K command and a removal spell or some different things.
Yeah, it feels very nice to be on this side of the matchup as a deck that doesn't just fold to a Culligan's command.
Right. let's see what you got here. Okay, so this is definitely something we're going to counterspell. You know, I mean, even though we feel ahead, we're not like that ahead if they have a lightning bolt.
Oh
But-
yeah, this is not an insurmountable position by any means.
So they've got some looks here. Notably, another push doesn't do it right now because they aren't able to kill CMC3 because they don't have a fetch land.
People make that mistake a lot online. I'm sure it happens less frequently in paper, but like you can just like still cast that online and it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
No, I don't want to Terminus.
Right. Okay, so I would brainstorm here. Just because the upside of getting a lot of being able to start turboing things out is so great. Okay.
All right.
Pretty awesome. I would do Terminus and Mentor. Let's see. And plow the Strix and attack for 5, I believe.
All right. Which order do I want to put these in? Terminus on bottom?
I would do Terminus on the bottom. Yep. Just in case some crazy stuff happens.
So for anyone wondering like why we are maxing out on mentors, just kind of consider how quickly we're going to turn the corner on this game.
Yeah, this is exciting. It's nice to play against another blue deck too that doesn't have the reset button. Like maybe he has one deluge, but okay, that would be jinxing it, I guess.
So we could force this, or we could just let it happen and just play the mentor that's on top of our library.
Yeah, I actually like letting it happen and playing the mentor on top of the library, I think.
I think I do too. If I force, they'll Baleful Strix and pack the Jace as well.
Yes. Sort of interesting that he didn't attack the Jace, but
yeah,
it also sort of reads that he has a Cola guns. No, maybe not.
Yeah, you can have that. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's brainstorm. Hopefully we can get like a cantrip. Actually, a Spell Pierce is great. So is it? No, it's not.
I think it's too late for Spell Pierce.
Well, it's good against Snapcaster K command, but he may get a 7th land. Okay, Spell Pierce is probably going to be our fodder for the Force.
I don't want Terminus.
So if we want to do everything we want to do, we can put Terminus second down, Flood of Strand on top, play a Mentor, play Accumulated Knowledge, drawing the fetch land, and play the fetch land. And then
God, I like that.
And then we'll have like Force of Will, Spell Pierce. So we have to be aware of like Snapcaster Deluge, but obviously we have some solutions.
Okay, so I know I said that Spell Pierce was gonna be bad, but this
must have just drawn that.
This is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Jace is good. Further testing is required.
Yeah, this is obviously great here. Great spot to be in. Hello, Yo Soyez.
It's Yo Soy Easy. I figured that one out. That is Eddie Zamora, Humans player.
Well, that was a nice draw for him.
Yeah, that warrants a force.
Let's just force of all that. He's like, oh, and he has everything.
Yeah, we do. We really do this game.
It's annoying though because we are so far ahead, and that was like the best possible draw, but he does need like 2 best possible draws to get back in the game.
Yeah, I mean we have literal no choice. We have to pitch the accumulated knowledge there.
Yeah, totally.
All right, it's time to start fate sealing them and just crash.
Yeah, I would face seal here.
I think they can keep that.
Yeah. We know we're going to want to fetch because we have a terminus on top. So. I have gotten really into pinball recently.
We have a pinball museum in Roanoke.
Oh, it's I haven't been, but I saw it on the pin map, and it looks awesome.
I kind of just want to find a swords, remove the tricks, and
I think
try to kill them.
Is good. Yep.
See, the best part is that like then they would cast counterspell, and we just hard cast a force.
All right. This is solid.
Yeah, I think I just want to put back force island and then string together the cantrips.
I sort of like, yeah, but because he might. I'm thinking how he would counter this. I would do like island in one of the cantrips, and then draw the other one and like get rid of the island. So maybe do island ponder, and then preordain bottom the island and draw the ponder.
Sure.
Because I think we're gonna want to have a force. And so, like, if he had counterspelled this, we have a hard cast force available. Yeah, so I think that's. I sort of like not countering and just swinging with
the token.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not really in any hurry to win the game here.
Yeah, because then we have another cantrip coming up. So I'm realizing that like streaming with this deck, the amount we want to talk about is hard because we're already down to 11 minutes, and I'm not used to doing efficient commentary. So that's something for us to keep in mind.
Yep, it's okay. We got a bunch of mentors though.
Yeah, that's right. That is the fail safe here. Okay, so that was a great game.
All right, so I think I like Gideon for sure.
Yes.
Pyroblasts for sure.
Yep. I like the Flusterstorm because there's the Kolaghan's commands and Hymn to Turok.
Do we want
I don't like
any of this stuff? I don't think I want this.
No. Sometimes click is okay. It depends on what we board out. I think it's sort of weird because we have all the mentors, but like swords is not very good. And terminus is often better. Do we want to play I think that we probably want to board out Force of Will.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to get to board out all of them, or we might need to leave some swords in.
Yeah, leaving like it's really hard to say against that kind of deck, but leaving in like 1 to 2 swords I think is reasonable.
So we could do something like leave in 2 swords, leave in 1 force.
1 force feels weird, but we could do that. Vendilion click isn't
otherwise
bad.
Or we play click, but they have so much removal.
Yeah. I think this is reasonable. I mean, they probably board out the fatal pushes, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of back to basics because we need the Valks for our Pyroblasts, and they also have enough basics to sort of play the song and dance game, so I'm not a big fan. White Faces appears to be trolling us.
I mean, they are playing magic cards, to be fair. Surgical, good against magic cards.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
this
seems fine.
this one force of will thing seems kind of weird, but it's not like I don't want a force at some point in a game. I'd never ever ever want to draw two, but sometimes just having the luxury of being able to tap out for your Jace, knowing it's safe, is fine.
Yeah, it's reasonable. The positive about drawing two forces, if they're drawn together, one can be pitched to the other, but you never want to obviously draw them two in a game not together. So this is like uncomfortable against the Grixis deck because we don't have a Spell Piercer Fluster Storm for him to turn up.
Yep.
But the good news is that we will use our Jedi forces to make him discard one of the two accumulated knowledges, not the other. Oh yeah, it's not him.
All right.
Nice
Sure.
little Strixie.
Sure, this is fine. I was for sure expecting him there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with just going to our turn. I would play a fetch land here.
I think I'm probably fetching Tundra with this. Well, like, it doesn't matter. Either one of the duels this gets.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts here, Phil?
I think I just let it resolve. Like, they'll take the Jace, but we're not really to the point of the game where Jace is good yet. Like,
yeah, I think that's reasonable. Okay. Do you want to jam?
Or just play an AK.
Want to play AK probably to use our mana here so that we can have like the threat of a draw 2 AK in our hand for like if they tap out or something.
Should I just get a Plains on the off chance that they're playing Blood Moon and brought it in? I don't think so, right? Like,
no,
just ignore that.
Yeah, I wouldn't get a Plains here just based on the duels that they have in play.
Tundra?
Yes, I would do. I would do Tundra. Yeah.
I don't really need the red until we have a blast. Hey, Happy New Year, JD. I hope things are going well for you.
Like Arkin shows up when I mention Jedi mind tricks.
Seems appropriate.
Surgical on AK incoming. I mean, we're laughing, but I think people do stuff like that, right?
They do. They do.
It's pretty great. I haven't streamed in a long time. I play Magic fairly competitively, but I used to have an active podcast that I also haven't done in a long time called the Brainstorm Show. What?
Okay. That was the best accumulated knowledge I think I've ever cast.
Okay. I sort of want to jam the other one, even though because we're not like really giving a lot up by that from doing that because we don't have anything else, other form of protection. So, are you cool with jamming it here?
Yeah, I'm thinking about surgical extraction for a second, but we still just draw a card if they extract it. And I don't.
Yeah, at this point, like they would have. And they've seen our hand, so they would have. Yeah, they would have already done it. That would be the only way that counterspell had made sense on his turn, but he doesn't have it because he knows we have a second one in hand. So I would just go ahead and do AK. Don't play the island though, because we might draw Pyroblast. Yeah. So if we have some amount of respect for our opponent, well, I'm really happy we drew this because if we respect that our opponent is not just horrible, what his play sort of says to me is that he has a Jace or like multiple Jaces and like just wanted to use his mana because his plan is to play a bunch of expensive cards. Even if he has a bunch of Jaces, it seems sort of strange. But I'm still the threat level of that goes up a little bit with that counterspell play. Snapcaster Thoughtseize.
Yeah, that gets a blast. Otherwise, it just takes it.
Yeah, I would blast them. Oh me.
You got it. You got it.
Force pitching Jace the Mind Sculptor. This is getting interesting.
You get a brainstorm, friend. Good job.
So we can still use these bad plays to guess on what is in our opponent's hand.
Like, it's got to be another Jace, right?
It has
like,
to
there's no way it makes sense, like, that they're hemorrhaging these cards unless they have a...
Oh, that's a good one to use right now.
Yeah.
So go us and our sideboarding plan of having more of these than plows. So this is like something for Magic that is, that I know, but it's good to talk about is, yeah, I think I would brainstorm here off the island.
Oh, great. Another AK. And I can hold up a Fluster. We're going to have to draw through these lands, and that is what it is, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just thinking if we need to do anything, but we should not do anything there in case of him situation. It's a little annoying if he taps out for a Jace, but so yeah, I was just thinking like even if we can get distracted by our opponent making bad plays, there's still an opportunity for us to sort of wonder, what could be in the hand because of those plays. And to me, it really seems like a Jace. So really interesting that I don't know if I want to do that here because we can really protect it on the next turn. And I would not play the land either. So I would go ahead and play the accumulated knowledge first, and then followed by brainstorm, and then we can get really, really deep for a fetch so that we can get a couple of these lands out.
I just let this happen, right?
Yeah, I mean this is like a low value brainstorm. Man, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. A lot of weird timing of cards on our opponent's side.
Yeah. So it is really easy to just kind of fall for the trap of like my opponent is playing badly and not give it a lot of thought.
Right. I would use the Tundra.
Yeah, we're probably not like swordsing.
I would brainstorm here because we want to use the preordain as a potential bottom if we don't find
if this
fetch.
happens, yeah.
So yeah, I think that we want to get rid of definitely the planes and probably swords. Yeah. Based on having Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce here, I would use this turn to preordain both to the bottom.
That was my thought as well.
The Council's Judgment's like a nice, if they have a land drop plus Jace plus a force, our fail safe is obviously the Council's Judgment. So.
If we didn't have a second Spell Pierce, I would have taken a little longer to talk about like merits of Spell Pierce versus Flusterstorm.
Mm-hmm. I was a little nervous about Pyroblast by using the Spell Pierce, but they didn't have it last turn, so even though they did Brainstorm EOT. It's going to be okay. He sort of thought about that for a strange amount of time. Wow.
All right. I'm fine with just jamming this.
Yeah, that's like really, really good draw. This is sweet because this is Phil. I sent Phil a deck list and he's like, we need to play a Gideon in the sideboard. And here's the Gideon doing some serious work against one of the best matchups for it.
We could have gone for the immediate emblem to make our mentor tokens bigger when we get a mentor.
Jeez, we missed that.
Pro plays in the chat.
Okay.
All right, and they're just done with us.
It's very strange decisions by the opponent. We thought they had the Jace based on the way the game was going.
I'm convinced they did, and they just didn't have the 4th land.
Yeah. So we think that they had 2 Jaces by that point too. So yeah, it was sort of interesting. And going all in on that snap Thoughtseize was something. To be fair, like those games get a lot more touchy if we didn't just hit the terminus at a decent time too. Like we could go on for a while getting pressure. Like we're still in a good spot in those games, but there'd be a song and dance of still trying to find.
Yeah, like we would have had to like kept the Swords to Plowshares that we bought them with the Preordain.
Right. Lose a little bit of value on that, but be able to stabilize. Yeah, I thought we played pretty well. There's like all these decisions about like when we can trip and lands that we can think about for a long time, but you know we have to do that so many times every turn that there's just a lot to think about.
Yeah. So for anyone who like has never tried streaming, it takes more mental energy than you think to kind of like bounce back and forth between monitors, talk through your plays, and it's really easy to lose track of time. And then when you're doing this with a co-host and you're like, oh man, this is really cool, let's talk about this. Like it is really easy to just like piss away a minute just like talking about like, well, which one of these lands is better to play?
Yeah, no, exactly. Oh, there's James.
Got all the cool kids tonight. So James
I decided to make like CBL Wilson, CBL James.
It's probably nice to have around for PR.
There you go. Instead of just sharing this Cardboard Live account. See, Orem is from the. I believe there's a Delver chat, and this guy's in there. Okay, so fine, you know.
We have lands, we have cantrips, we have a counter spell.
There you
go. What's turn 1?
So in this situation, I talked to a lot of people about this. I think many more people than I preordained, but I actually like Ponder when we already have a fetch land in our hand.
Okay.
Because we can get sort of clever with our turn 2, maybe shuffling away the 3rd card or keeping it depending on the matchup.
Off the Tundra?
Yeah. Okay, so this is exactly, well, it's not exactly because there's really 2 cards that we don't want, but we have a Brainstorm.
So I think I want to put Terminus down at the bottom because we'll know whether or not we need it by then.
Yep, and I would actually draw the island so that we keep the Brainstorm safe from discard. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, this is one of those things you talked about where we could talk about it forever, but if we, let's see what happens here. But if we had preordained there, I think the Terminus was, in that situation, the 3rd card down. Oh, this is great. This is actually nice that we protected our Brainstorm. But like we wouldn't have had control, and we would have bottomed an island, and we would have drawn a Terminus on this next turn. So that's obviously like results oriented, but that's what would have happened.
I don't think I have enough information about my opponent yet to know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I would play the Flooded Strand and pass.
Like, I presume that I'm not going to want this Terminus because, like, if it's Storm or if it's Grixis Control, like, I don't want it either way.
Right. Interestingly, though, like, well, I just like the setup we have here, even though we're probably not going to want it. And the option of the brainstorm is nice here. So our opponent knows our whole hand except for the brainstorm, which is nice. Yeah, I would skew the scales towards this being storm, but we will see.
Yeah, seeing the misty rainforest. Ooh, we
That
we
could be
might be playing against some like good old like bug mid range deck or some bug delver or something.
a sort of interesting like tap and then not do anything.
I think I just want to fetch that card away and pass, or maybe like fetch in my upkeep.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I mean, we don't know that we're, not playing against some weird bug stifle deck. So just waiting that touch longer is fine. And I think I want a Tundra since I'm already exposed to Wasteland.
Sure. Okay. I'd brainstorm here before doing anything else. Hopefully we don't get wrecked by
A Spell Pierce would be rough.
Yeah.
All right, this hand got a lot better.
So that's also sweet for not finding a fetch. This is also why I like preordain the deck. So I'd put back both of the planes.
Okay.
And then bottom both of them off of preordain.
Before playing a land? Or
I'll do it before. Yeah, well, let's see.
Would I want to protect it?
Let's protect it from a daze just because this could be some sort of bugged over deck. Yep, I think that's reasonable because there's like no reason why we would like play a fetch instead there. So
yeah, Cardboard Live works on mobile. You just need to enable it. There's a little puzzle piece icon. You click that, and it turns on your Twitch extensions.
Yep. So this turned around very quickly for us if we are thinking that our opponent might be on Storm. So I still think there's a decent chance because they play like one tropical a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, like this very easily could still be Ant, and our opponent like not playing a creature like very very well could be indicative of that. In which case, like we have Spell Pierce and Force.
Yep. And Rog Hearthstone already has a similar type of extension called Innkeeper, and we're really focused on games that generally have like real world items that they're supporting because we want people to be able to buy stuff through a stream and support streamers with commissions of those sales. So that's why we're really focused on Magic right now.
Like once that's fully integrated, that's going to be so sweet. Like
it's actually sooner
such
than
a
later.
game changer.
We're basically ready. We've just been like doing some testing on it. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Okay. Now it's getting less likely to be Storm. Is this a Hymn to Turok? Thoughtseize. So yeah, this is perfect Spell Pierce situation. Storm players love their duels a lot more than I do, though. So who knows? But all we've seen is 2 Ponders, 2 Thoughtseizes, and a strange assortment of land. Okay, so this is a situation in which I like the Mentor a lot more than jamming Jace because we get 2 pieces of protection up.
I mostly agree, but Abrupt Decay will be womp womp.
That's true. Well, let's hope that everybody likes to be trendy and play Assassin's Trophy.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But like regardless, I'm okay with like playing Mentor if it gets answered by Abrupt Decay. So be it. Like I can draw a land and then play Jace with 2 pieces of potentially 2 pieces of backup as well.
That's exactly right. Like I would be a lot more worried about Abrupt Decay if he had 2 mana up because then there's a big downside of the tempo swing, but now he's going to have to take his turn off to essentially do that.
We could also see something like Fetch Fatal Push. Wow, are we just getting a pass here? Am I just untapping with a Mentor? What? No.
So we could start to get greedy and play the Jace. Because we don't really want to force of will pitching the Jace.
I think I want to attack.
Okay.
Like,
If we,
see if our opponent does something with their mana.
it's just like I think that they would definitely kill Mentor on their turn. So if we think let's say, I'm assuming that they're not going to do anything, and if they don't, would we have wanted to play the Jace because we get in for an extra damage? What do you think?
I mean, let's do it.
Jam Jace?
Okay. Yeah. I think you're right. If they have the removal spell, it should have happened already.
And if they make a mistake and didn't do it already, we get the monk by doing it this way, which is nice. Like if they were trying to like weirdly wait for our combat step. Yeah, I would go ahead and Rainstorm.
I think so. I almost want to Fate Seal them to just get a better idea of what they're doing, but
the thing is, like, this is perfect for us because we get to put Terminus in the land back.
Terminus and Island back.
Yep. I would do Island Terminus, but
like putting Terminus on top.
Yeah, because we definitely, I don't think we're going to want either one. So yeah, I would do Island and the Terminus on top, and then play Scalding Tarn. And I would attack for 3. I would not preordain here because we have Spell Pierce plus Force Blue card, which is awesome if we think that they're on Storm potentially. At this point in the game, we're really, really, really far ahead, and I don't think they're playing if they're playing a fair deck, and I don't think that they are because they haven't been doing anything. So like, I think we're at the point where we're like, how are we going to die to Storm? And we could very easily die to Storm, so we need like 2 pieces of interaction. I think is very important. This feels like a discard spell.
All right, so that just happens.
Yep. I think that we just have to let that happen. So we can start like mathing a little bit on like a lethal swing. So he's going to get a 12. If he gives us something to Spell Pierce, then we would have 3 guys, which is 4 damage, and then we would need 3 prowess triggers on our turn. Yeah, that's okay.
That does not seem okay.
Yeah, we absolutely have to Spell Pierce that. Yeah, appreciate it. Is it Viley NYC? So yeah, we have, so this leaves us with 4 power on the field, and every spell is +3. So our opponent essentially is at 8.
I assume our opponent is dead here. Like, they don't have another black mana showing to like start to go off again. So we'll just preordain, cast like anything.
Awesome. So that's one of the spells. So we just need to find one more spell for lethal.
So Brainstorm first, and we can preordain bad stuff to the bottom if we need to.
I would actually.
Or do I just Jace first?
So this is sort of weird. This is the one time I would preordain first. We're trying to go as deep as possible to find one spell. So I would preordain first and bottom anything that's not one spell.
Okay.
You almost never want to order it like this, but and there we go. So we would. Yep. Hooray. And there's our version of Empty the Warrens.
Five, 9, more than 12.
Very nice. So that was a weird game because we thought they were on Storm for most of the game, but like getting
it was not clear for sure that they were.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like, this is much more green than you normally see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was quite odd.
So for sure, I like Fluster Surgical Click.
Yep.
Then Blasts are like medium minus. They're okay.
Yeah. I
And
like them because we're probably gonna have a lot to board out, so let's consider those in the probably pile.
I think, and like EE is another thing. Like it can answer goblins, it can answer artifact mana.
Yep. I always like having the E against Storm for that reason. It answers Xantid inefficiently, plus goblins, plus artifacts. So yeah, I think probably that. I like to board out Council's Judgment, the Terminuses, and 2 to 3 Swords to Plowshares. In this list, we could consider boarding out the Jaces because we have 4 Monastery Mentors and 4 Accumulated Knowledges.
Okay. I could see that. Jace isn't necessarily the threat you want, right? Like it's slow to win the game, like actually win the game. You know, it can effectively do so somewhat quickly.
I would never have done this before with Miracles until I started playing the 4 Accumulated Knowledge version, because that whole package can get you the card advantage you need at instant speed when you're holding up all your counter spells against something like Storm, and you don't feel like you need Jace to get ahead because of that, which is pretty nice.
So like, do I want to trim one or both?
Well, we may not need the 3rd Pyroblast. I think that's something that we could consider.
Yeah, like Pyroblast isn't amazing. It does not stop the cards that win the game on their side of the table. It just like stops their dig.
Yeah, I sort of like this configuration.
I think this is reasonable.
Yep.
To just say this, I think I would have kept a Terminus or 2 in just for inexperience in playing the deck, just to like have more outs to goblins.
Well, we can do that. What are you thinking about cutting?
But like I don't know that it is correct to.
Okay.
It was just that would have been something that occurred to me. I think it makes less sense to keep any in if we're going to be trimming a Jace.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, all these cards work together in interesting ways. So once we're down to 1 Jace with less brainstorm effects, that's true. Okay, this is definitely a hand that we keep against Storm, even though it's a 1-lander.
It's awkward.
It's awkward, and when we're bottlenecked on land like this, we're going to be using our brainstorm at certain times that are not going to look necessarily normal. We'll just have to see how the game plays out. But I think timing on the cantrips is going to be everything in the early game.
Yes, we are doing this through Zoom. Wilson has a subscription to them and suggested we give it a try.
How does he know that? Let me see what it looks like on the stream right now.
There's that slight green edge around everything.
Okay, I see that. What are your thoughts on Zoom, Twindom? We know James likes Zoom. So now that we've drawn the Preordain, I think that I would play the Flood Strand and brainstorm on my opponent's instep if they don't do anything, maybe.
Okay. I will take that maybe.
This is like one of those, I need to feel how intuitive this would be. Like if they just play a land and pass, I'm trying to think like. This is often a turn when you see discard though. Okay, the fetch before they're playing anything is sort of odd. Ground Seal. Feels like Ground Seal.
Yep, Ground Seal. Okay,
I would Spell Pierce this because it turns off both the snap and our future surgicals, and they cantrip from it. So I personally think we want to use our mana. And
okay, I can understand that.
It's not like 100% by any means, but.
And just like not having the Spell Pierce in our hand means that we'll feel less bad about having to tap out for the Preordain if we miss a land.
Yeah. Plane sucks. So that actually, the drawing of planes is sort of an interesting point. Like we could have boarded out one of the planes, But I would probably preordain.
I think so. I could see arguments for just like making the land drop and passing.
Yeah.
Ugh. I think I want to bottom the AK, keep the Volk, play the
Sort of
Volk.
interesting. It's sort of interesting. Yeah, this doesn't look like an AK game because we already have Mentor, so I think that's reasonable. We just want interaction. Yeah.
Now I can play this instead because it's just a better land. It represents so much more.
A lot of good Storm players too. They play a little bit of a longer game post sideboard against Miracles, and we're able to sort of beat them with that strategy by getting more aggressive with Mentor, which is nice. So if they discard here, we may brainstorm and protect a Force of Will, which potentially.
Yeah, I think I want to protect this.
I think I liked that play.
Well, let's see what we go, but as of right now, I'd want to protect these two.
Sort of interesting. So we can get really tricky with this. I think what we would definitely want to hide Force of Will because there's a situation in which we could jam Mentor and have Force with a threat in play, which is pretty nice.
That's what I'm thinking about.
But the issue is, like, if we hide Force and Counterspell, they're pretty incentivized
to take Snapcast. Or no, to just take the Mentor.
But then we have Snap.
Yeah.
Pierce, which is really nice. Like, that's a really good situation. So maybe we do Counterspell second down, Force on top, let them pick between the Mentor or the Snap, and then that'll be our play on the next turn is either hold up the Snap or play the Mentor. Which way did you? Oh, you did the Force on top, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It sort of lagged for a second.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not we're tapping out for this Mentor.
Right.
Like we may just die here.
That's true. But the way you got to play this game is we have a solid game plan. We put them in a position where they do need to just kill us because we have a solid game plan if we get to untap. Storm is slower than a lot of people think sometimes. It's like, even though this is already slow, it's their turn 3, but they have this like ground seal sort of hand. So we'll see. We may lose to goblins and wish that we had.
All right, so they're taking interaction. Yeah. All right. The texture of the game has changed.
Sort of interesting that they took the Snapcaster Mage if they had a Xanted Swarm. Because we have a threat now with Monastery Mentor, but
so I think I want to just jam the Mentor.
Yeah, but the question is, like, do we fetch away the counterspell now? Because
I think so.
Yeah, because we basically have to find
Swords to Plowshares before this is good.
Or cantrips to go off with Mentor. So I think that's reasonable. Let's go ahead and fetch it away. So we have three answers, with one Jace being a fourth answer at this point.
Our opponent doesn't actually have that many cards. They've only cantripped once. They might not be able to just outright kill us yet.
Yep.
That's kind of what we're hoping for.
Wait.
Why?
So I think that we want to Force of Will this.
Yeah. Why did they give me the opportunity to do this?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not questioning it, but I mean, I am questioning it.
Yeah, you should definitely.
I mean, I'll take this.
I mean, this is a thing where if people don't play that deck a lot, sometimes you have to learn because, it might intuitively feel like Xanted Swarm is like, I'm going to swing and then kill you. But in reality, you need to swing and then do anything that you're going to do, including cantrip.
I wonder if this is the pause where they
Yeah,
just
like,
like
oh
they have their
no.
hand in their head going like, "Oh my god."
Right. So chat, I'm enjoying kombucha, which I've recently gotten into. It is makes me feel good. Generally healthy.
Why are you doing another thing pre-combat?
Yeah, right. Let's see what's we're gonna see like a pre-combat ground seal or something. Okay. That was all of that was very odd. All right, well, let's just start chipping away. Man, a cantrip would have been awesome there. There are
Oh
these
yeah.
sub games like that where it's like the advantage bar would love a cantrip.
Yeah, any cantrip means oh
What?
wow. Um
Okay, that's sort of like
I
the tilt
think they
function.
assumed our hand was a lot better than it was.
Yeah,
I
that's so weird though because it's like the swarm turns off any interaction.
everything that matters, yeah. I mean, okay, mentor, good magic card.
There you go.
Yeah, chat, I'm with you. Just like shame or tilt concession seems reasonable.
Shout out for Land Shark Kombucha. No, it is not Land Shark Kombucha, but that's it's a great idea. You should email them about that. You know what? That's a great comment. Maybe they didn't know his handed swarm has flying.
I've definitely occasionally learned some things during games of Magic.
Right.
Oh, so I'm not gonna name names here. Um, but I had a friend of mine in like I don't know, it was like round 8 of a Star City Games Invitational. Playing standard for like the first time back when like Pearl Lake Ancient was legal,
Okay.
and he was playing with like a Russian one, and he didn't actually know what the card did. Like everyone was just like conceding to it once it hit play.
Oh, really?
So he had never had to get the Oracle text of it.
Right.
And then someone else plays one, and his opponent has a question about it, so she goes and calls a judge. And she asks the judge, like, hey, what exactly does prowess do again? And my friend looks at the card and goes like, oh my god, this has prowess?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a weird ability to have on that card for sure.
Yeah, blue has all right, like color pie divergence thing. Blue's gotten like oddly aggressive in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it really has.
Did you see
I hope
the preview for that new Drake card?
yeah, you're talking about the one that almost like monstrous sort of,
Yeah,
right?
so like it's a 1/1, and then by legacy standards, you can usually pay 1 blue mana to put 4 counters on it.
Yeah. There's another card that is okay, so this is good. Is not like great, but it's sort of fun, which is I think it's a 1/1 for 1, and you can pay 2 mana to loot and put a counter on it. Sort of neat. It's like a rare.
Just Tundra Pass, or do I just want to preordain?
I would Tundra Pass here for sure.
I don't really know what I want yet,
So yeah, and
and
there's
I'm not
enough things
hurting
in
for land.
Legacy.
Don't be an
Uh,
elf.
let's see if it's oh, it's exactly what we want it to be. That's great. There's also enough stuff in Legacy too, like Chalice, Ether Vial. We're on the play. Like the Spell Pierce gets pretty good potential value. Because it's elves, like I almost want to brainstorm because I don't think we want the Jace. And accumulated knowledge isn't going to be fantastic. And we can, if we get more cantrips, we can like brainstorm, shuffle, do another cantrip. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, there's like a bunch of different decisions that are somewhat marginal difference.
I think I want to brainstorm to like A, get rid of the Jace, and if it is elves, potentially start looking for the Terminus.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Also, like in this version of Miracles against elves, I actually like to um jam mentor and go crazy. So this is decent even though we didn't hit another land. Um
Do I just want to get rid of both AKs?
it's and then say that the Jace is going to be pitched to the Force of Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's good. Let's do that.
And I think I just want to have Flooded Strand up for their turn.
So I'm thinking we need to hit a third land because we're on this like aggressive mentor game plan before elves can go crazy. I don't know though, because we could tempo into the mentor if we hit a land by killing whatever they play. Um,
Yeah,
your
I see
instinct
what you're
was,
saying.
but your instinct was keep it up. So I think that that's okay. We can keep it up. It's just that like if we don't hit a land, we're so far behind because we don't get to play the mentor and we have to fish for a land.
No, maybe we should preordain because like hitting land or Terminus are both absurd.
Yeah, I think I like preordain here. Like the force of will makes me feel good about just trying to turbo into land drops.
Well, we'll
So I like actually I think I actually like both of these cards because
this is just fodder for force.
uh either that or here's the thing is like we could force of will pitch the Jace and definitely be able to plow and accumulate a knowledge on the next turn, making 2 monks and starting to turbo into more stuff.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put the island on bottom then, in case
Wait,
we
wait,
need
wait.
to pivot.
Wait, let me think about this though. We do want a third land though, right? So I was
Yeah,
thinking like, so what I'm thinking is we definitely want the island because we want to play mentor next turn, and I just don't know if we want the AK, but I think we do. I'm not trying to be like bossy about what to do either. I'm just trying to start like thinking out loud about it.
yeah, like I don't mind having this as something we can cast with Mentor or as something that we can pitch to Force. Like neither is stellar, but I think the duality there makes it fine.
Okay, so we're gonna keep both.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Ooh, I think we accidentally bottomed one.
Oh shoot, did we really?
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, it's okay if I hit another land.
Yeah, like it's okay anyways because like I think that the sort of misclick and stuff suck, but it's like we knew what we wanted to do there, and
Yeah, that's
if
fine.
we end up like getting hurt by the misclick, then we just know that it was a misclick.
Yep, I sure did.
But it's interesting because they're so short on mana that like it's not even going to hurt us that much because I think that we want to plow the Dryad Arbor here.
Yeah,
So
so
like
I'll
maybe
just
snipe.
preordain.
Let's go ahead and preordain. Try to hit the land, and then plow Dryad Arbor. It's awkward, but we want the land.
Yep.
Uh,
Bottom counterspell.
just thinking, like Counterspell gets pretty good if we get the mentor down and just want to deal with glimpses and natural orders. I don't know. That's a hard one to say.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
If we keep it, then
Like I kind of just want to find a 1 mana cantrip though.
let's find a 1 mana cantrip. Let's bottom Counterspell and top the plains, and then go ahead and snipe off that Dryad Arbor. Yeah, these are always the solid games against elves when like they're short on their mana guys because like hopefully they didn't draw land because they can sort of go nuts. We based on our hand and everything, I think we have to let that one go, even though they're going to start to get all their mana out, and we have to like basically deal with what their critical spells are going to be on the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to answer the critical spells right now.
Yeah, I think we just have to let that go, unfortunately. But... Okay. So if we mentor here and then force pitching either accumulate knowledge or Jace, I think that's the play.
I think so.
You know, we're not on Terminus anymore, but I don't think we need to be. Like, I think that we can go wide with the mentor better than they can do stuff, and just deal with the big spells.
Yeah. Although I might be, quote, forced to even counter an Elvish Visionary. That would be
see,
a damning
Elvish
card
Visionary,
over time.
That's a really good point, because I think Elvish Visionary is one of the better draws here. And there's Elvish Visionary.
I think I want to pitch AK.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, because we're still in a position where Jace can do some good stuff for us.
Like, there's potential that I should just, like, pitch the Jace and try to, like, cast multiple spells quickly. But I'm not convinced that the Jace is dead yet.
No. I mean, if we draw a land, this is a great opportunity to play the Jace, but we didn't.
Lead on Brainstorm, see what happens?
I think so.
It's slightly awkward if I draw 2 cards I don't want. But
I still think it's probably good to brainstorm here. This deck is so redundant that we believe in the deck. So many cantrips and fetches. Hopefully we get something. Okay. So let's think. I think that Snap Swords is awesome. We could even like keep a Jace. I don't know.
I feel like I'm supposed to Snap Swords Wirewood and crash in.
Yeah, I think Wirewood definitely has to be the target.
But unfortunately, that means that whatever I put back, I'm just not having.
Yeah. So it'll be the Terminus and either AK or Jace, obviously. I think we probably want to keep the Jace because the upside is so good. Just
I
to
think so.
play the Jace.
Yeah. So like we can set up AK like Terminus, but like we want to win the game with this Mentor now.
Yeah.
We are aggro miracles.
There you go. Yeah, this is interesting because like if you had any other miracles people on here, they'd probably be rooting for some different lines because this is definitely aggressive. But this is sort of how I like to play the deck. So this kind of play is good against something like Elves because like Elves is just it's tough to deal with. I mean, like you're not safe from just like a single Terminus. You know, it's like you've got to turn the corner against them. And they're in the spot now where like they need like a Gaia's Cradle draw to like sort of go off this turn, I think.
I mean, a Glimpse plus a Nettle Sentinel could do it as well.
Hooray! Okay. A little bit awkward.
A little.
I think we want to it's like get rid of their mana. Like Heritage Druid is now so scary, right? Because we don't want we just want to keep them off. So like if we get rid of Heritage Druid, then they just have 2 mana.
It's so unfortunate, right? Like
I know.
I'm 1 life off of lethal if Jace finds a land, right?
Right. It's just like let's say you play Jason Brainstorm and don't find a land. Like it doesn't really matter if it's close to lethal, right? Like it just matters whether
next turn we've got him.
Right. I think what I would do here is attack in and see what he does. And then when he doesn't block,
Swords to
swords
Plowshares,
the
Heritage Druid.
Heritage Druid.
Yeah.
We have Natural Orderer in the chat. Don't jinx us. Jeez, that's so like tilting.
The command in chat, exclamation mark elves, just has the bot reply, "We dead."
Oh, really?
Just so used to losing to that deck.
That's really funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's sad for Death and Taxes. But... No. Why?
All right. Well, this is scary.
Yeah.
If we lose this one, it is 100% because I misclicked on that preordain. Just for the record, we very much would have had our opponent dead.
What are the they're playing some weird natural order targets these days, right? Like the
Archon of Valor's Reach.
So most of them are main decking that?
Yes, so there's one hoof, one Archon.
This is great if this is a Green Sun Zenith. I mean, it's not great, but it's like we like them to cast their multiple mana cards. Looks like that's what this is.
Yeah, I don't know what they would Green Sun for because like it really depends on the texture of the rest of their hand.
Right. And it seems like their hand is poor if they're Green Sunning for 2. They might feel like they have to Green Sun for 2 to try to get the get a Visionary and keep this chain going. Okay, I guess.
So like that gives them an untap effect and a redraw. So like Wirewood is great.
Yeah, so they're gonna draw 2, be able to generate.
So like Wirewood
one
makes a third or a half of a mana depending on how many other elves they have. Oh.
Yay!
Well, we can probably beat through that. Just like Jace, bounce, ooze, swing in is probably lethal. They'll have 2 blockers. Yeah.
So let me just think about this just because this is always tricky, right? So they have 2 blockers because they can untap 1.
Yeah.
And they block those 2.
They block these 2, and then we have 8 coming in.
They're dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we won this one despite my mistake. And it was a big one.
Yeah, but I mean
it's Moto though. Like
this stuff happens. I
mean,
we're
get
doing
used to it.
And we're calling in, we're trying to do a stream. It's like yay.
Yeah, so like their turn might have looked a little weird, but their hand might have been quite weak.
Yeah.
So like they might have had a fistful of lands left or something like that. So they might have done the best they could with the resources they had.
Well, you're saying so Natural Order thinks that you should bounce the Visionary, but at the same time that gets them 1 extra card, but it cuts them off 1 more mana. So if they had something they were already going to play in their hand, which I guess they didn't really, they had the ooze. So it let them play the ooze when they wouldn't have been able to play it if they had bounced the Visionary.
Yeah, bouncing a 1 mana thing probably is the line that puts you closer towards winning the game.
They should bounce Heritage in order to have 2 non-summoning sick creatures.
Oh, sure. Okay, I see. I thought you were referring to them bouncing Visionary.
I don't think that they were able to generate enough mana for the namesake of our friend in the chat, though, which may be the issue. But yeah, I guess.
All right, let's sideboard before we run
Okay.
the clock too much.
Okay,
So
so Terminus Explosives.
those are easy. And then after that, a lot of these cards look kind of medium to bad.
Yeah, and the good news is too. Well, not there's not a ton that we feel like we need to board out. I like Council's Judgment isn't very good. They sometimes have choke, but we have 3 Spell Pierce in the forces. I mean, we could do like a Jace. We have 4 Terminus now, so maybe we need Jace just to brainstorm Terminuses.
Yeah, I was kind of debating that to myself.
I don't know. I'm not really strongly opinionated, so like there's like a bunch of random stuff that we could do, like single preordain, a single Jace. I also don't hate adding Flusterstorm Natural Order, but we're so tight that I don't even know what we're gonna board out here already. So
I think I either want to trim a Preordain or a Spell Pierce.
okay. Maybe on the draw we trim the Spell Pierce because
yeah, okay,
it's more likely to be better turn 1 on the play. And we can like sort of reassess that for game 3 if we have to.
No, even though we're boarding in 1 more Terminus, like that's only 1 more sweeper, right? And the plan to win this matchup is cast Mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay. Yep.
Bottom.
Yep. Only need 1 of those. It's a cool game though, because we were able to like turbo mentor win again, which was pretty neat. Okay. I sort of like the leaving up a plow for the relevant creature that they play on their turn.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason to go and like plow this now is if they have like Gaia's Cradle plus 2-drop they want to cast, like Gaia's Cradle plus Visionary.
Yeah.
But that's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I'm fine with like Mesa pass.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, the good Miracles players will be able to like play the Wirewood Symbiote Quirion Ranger game to like, protect the Arbor with the Ranger, the Elves with the Wirewood. So we want to be able to pick those guys off.
All right. So do I want to tag the Nettle Sentinel or let them get 1 activation and tag the Birchlore?
Well, if they get 1 activation, they may play a better card off of tapping both, right?
Yeah.
So I think that we let them play another elf this turn.
All right.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. I'm so not confident. Maybe I'm leading us down a bad path, but it's like if we let them play 1 more card, 1 more 1-drop, we get really rewarded if it's like a Wirewood Symbiote.
Sure. I don't have experience with like this matchup from this deck's perspective.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of guessing of like, which are the high impact cards they might have. And
like with D&T, a lot of the time it's like, all right, for mana efficiency, I have to just like remove the first creature I have the opportunity to remove.
Yeah. Okay, Quirion Ranger is pretty good.
Do I just tag the Birchlore now?
So he's going to return a forest. He's going to use even if you tag the Birchlord, he'll use the Bayou to play something, even if he doesn't have another land.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he has 2 mana here. I still think
we just keep waiting.
I think maybe we keep waiting.
All right.
you might kick me after all of this because but
We also do just have this Terminus in hand, so if we find a Brainstorm, just delicious.
oh yes.
Hey, hey. I would say I'm doing a little bit of both. Wilson's definitely the expert.
I don't know.
At least relatively.
I am fairly rusty. Cabal therapy.
Now I feel like I need to cast the Swords to Plowshares.
I think so because it seems like we were like tanking on so many things. Like we'll probably name it.
Birchlore.
I don't know. Quirion is also really good here.
I feel like our opponent might not have another land.
Right. But that makes Quirion better, right? Because he's able to reuse his one land.
Yeah, but he's still going to get to do that regardless. So I think Birchlore has the potential of generating more mana over the course of the game than Quirion Ranger does.
Reasonable. Yeah, let's do it. So hopefully Anurag would hit Quirion, which means we probably made the right decision. Just kidding. Just kidding, Anurag.
Yeah, Sebastian, I've played, I don't know, probably somewhere on the order of like 50 different decks since, I don't know, probably more than that. Somewhere between like 50 and 100 different decks since like the Deathrite Shaman, Gataxian Probe bans. And I felt like all of them, except one, have been viable. There was a real rough Enchantress stream with an untested build. That one didn't go well. Yeah, so I stream 3 times a week, so 3 times the number of weeks since Deathrite Shaman banning. That's about how many decks I've played. You know, there have been some repeats.
That's pretty sick.
But
what's Whiteface's LOL Wilson? Oh, that was my dagger at Anurag probably. So this is not bad. Like,
yeah, our opponent has 3 cards in hand, one land.
It's very strange for him to have gotten rid of his Quirion instead of his Nettle Sentinel, because Nettle Sentinel is one of these cards that does very little on its own, but that might be scary because maybe that means okay, well, never mind. He has another Quirion Ranger.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I can't do anything about it anyway. Ooh.
Hello.
So I think I do need to play this out.
Yeah.
Because I can't like guarantee that I'm just going to naturally draw the 3rd land next turn.
I agree.
It could get like Rex Saged or something, but that's where we're at. No, Anurag, there's not really pressure. I'm more interested in like clearing the board and playing this Mentor. That's where my thought process is. I'm not worried about the 3 damage a turn that I'm taking.
In natural order, that's an interesting question. I don't have enough experience with elves to feel good about what I should do if I am them, but being on the other side of it, you do sort of like your opponent to dilute their deck. Like we have so much redundancy that we're not really that worried about one for one discard.
Oh man, are we getting a land?
That is amazing. Um, just given the situation with their 2 cards in hand, like that's best possible for us. So now
Yep.
we get to play the
Now I have
mentor.
Mentor with Force backup.
Yeah.
Deal.
So yeah, natural order. I like your intuition on that of probably not wanting it, but but based on your Twitch handle and the fact that you are in an Elves Discord talking to Julian about the deck, you likely have a lot more experience and informed opinion than I. A little bit annoying, but he only has 2 cards in his hand, so he did need to probably draw that for like one of his. Okay, that's still fine.
I
At
think
this
I
point,
let that go.
Yeah, I think we need to.
I just don't want to die to like Natural Order or Glimpse.
Right. Now I think now we need to force a Wirewood Symbiote though.
Yeah, one side of this combo is fine. Both sides unacceptable.
Right.
Like a lot of people focus in on like Natural Order and Glimpse as the kill cards of the deck because those are the ones that make the big flashy kills. But most of the time when Elves is winning, it's actually just due to that synergy right there.
Yep. Now this is the reason I do like Mentor, because like you get in these situations where they get some small number of creatures, and if they don't have like a big mama, that's a little bit annoying. Then you have like a hard time sort of winning the game. What did you name?
They named Accumulated Knowledge, which was the card I drew this turn, right?
Oh, that is a
It's a good old
really
stream snipe right there, probably.
That's like a really obvious ghost.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's unfortunate.
Who's our opponent? Opium Elf. All right, Natural Orderer, you need to this is a naughty elf brother. Okay. We shouldn't attack, so
yeah.
Just pass it up.
So normally if I was just streaming by myself, I'd put a little box over these, but if I cover up my hand, Wilson can't see it either. So that's where we're at.
Somewhat annoying. The interesting thing though is that like, well, it's not even that interesting. I'm just going to assume that they are watching the stream. So okay. He's like looking at your hand and like, should I Cabal Therapy? He drew a Jace. It's funny like how shameless this is about to be.
Yeah. All right.
That's like
people like you hurt our community and make streamers not want to produce content.
it's just, you know, I would think the vast majority of ghosters would at least try not to make it obvious, but that's just so ridiculous. Oh, that's right. Yeah. We don't have to type it. He can hear us.
He gets it in the chat too.
I think that we actually
I think I do that.
I think we need to. It's annoying, sort of. I mean, we leave him with one operational land, and he's sort of been setting it up to, you know, have like a natural order at some point. So.
See, it'll be all the better when we just beat this person.
I know, that's what
And
I'm
they
excited about.
watch like the entire match and they still lose.
Yep. Yeah, we need Magic Justice to be on our side, though.
Yes, please do post that on the Elves Discord. That would be most excellent.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Thank you,
Cyrus CG calls them name and shames.
All right, what do we got? This is annoying. Don't feel great about our spot here, but to be fair, like just thinking back to that Assassin's Trophy, we wouldn't have had another land at this point. We would have killed like a couple things.
I probably just need to force that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you do. Because we're just dead. I guess next turn to that, because you can pump it so much. Ugh. Let me think about this. I think we should play this out.
I think so.
Yeah. Because is there like a weird world where like we can deal with Sentinel and get up to like hardcast Terminus if we never draw a, a brainstorm? The draws have not been great. We haven't been seeing our massive cantrip suite in this game. So accumulate knowledge is turned on, right? So we can draw 2 if we draw one of those.
So
It's like a
doesn't look like I can both get them on screen at the same time, but there's the Jace the Mind Sculptor one, there's the Cabal Therapy one. Or I guess I can bring this down a touch.
Yeah.
No, still can't get them both on.
Okay.
I guess I can accumulate knowledge into Terminus on their turn.
So you could do that, or if we think that we're much more likely to draw sorcery speed cantrips and like try to find up swords, I'm inclined to want to do it on our turn because we only have 2 Terminus in the deck, and it would have to be the top card as a Terminus for that to be the right play. But we might get punished.
I mean,
so that's
fine.
good because we get to
Snapcaster Swords.
Yeah, we want to do that now, so that we get them off the Cradle mana, I think.
Sure. And I'm going to snipe the Visionary. I don't want our opponent to go and draw Wirewood and then have that.
I think that is smart.
Yes. Snap accept.
Kind of interesting that turns off the Cradle. Hey, buddy, since you're watching, you're tapping mana on your combat. Okay.
We'll help you out. You need more help than just us and our hands.
Well, here we go. So he has no cards in hand, and if we draw a land, we hardcast his Terminus. So. Darn. That's really annoying.
Yeah, so this is just a shuffle because taking the Preordain is just a bottom and wasting a mana.
Yeah, we have to shuffle it.
Yeah, that was a card late.
That's so tilty. That's all right. I did like that we got up to an opportunity to cast the hardcast Terminus there. I mean, that was relevant. So I think given his way he's sideboarding, we're definitely boarding in the third Spell Pierce, and I think we may even consider this Flusterstorm now. What are your thoughts on that? Because he has.
What would we cut?
Oh, I don't know. We could cut either maybe we could cut a couple of the forces. If he's boarding in all this discard and Assassin's Trophies, it almost makes me feel like there's the world in which he's boarding out some of the combo cards like Natural Order or Glimpse.
Yeah. So I would rather lose a game and continue to make good content than try to hide my hand and beat this player. Like, I am here to produce content, and, you know, this person, if this is how they want to play, so be it.
Right. Plus, it'll be fun if we can beat him knowing that we're playing with our hand face up on the table.
No, I don't want to cut mentors. Like, that is the game plan. That's how I want to win.
Yeah, I really like Mentor, especially when we're bringing in all the 1 mana counter magic too. Like having Mentor is really solid with this game plan. So, all right, I like this.
I think I like this.
It's interesting because there's so many different sideboard scenarios for our opponent. And the annoying thing too is he could just be waiting to see how we sideboard. Like now he could like sideboard differently. But you know, the fact that he's doing the discard and the trophies, this is pretty good.
Yeah, this is fine.
I think because of the discard, I would rather play the basic island and maybe miss on a turn 2 terminus.
Yeah, turn 2 terminus is much less important on the play.
And I would let it go anyways if he played a creature because we have the brainstorm. So, and that's a good reason to brainstorm, I think. Like,
I think I just want to hide the mentor.
I think so, yeah.
Are there any of these I don't want? Like, for sure? All this stuff
I think
looks...
one of the Spell Pierce or Fluster maybe, or I don't know, like if he knows about, I mean, maybe we don't want Force of Will. It's hard to say, you know.
I think I want to get rid of one of these two.
I think that's fair. So
put back Mentor and then Spell Pierce.
So Spell Pierce could be better if we think that he has Choke, but he has all these other spells.
Sure.
So. Yeah. It's sort of a strange decision though, because like obviously you could like cast a spell in their turn and like Flusterstorm for 3. We don't have enough to do that right now, so I think it's probably higher upside to have the Pierce. I keep forgetting. It's hard to get out of the mindset of playing a regular game of Magic that he like knows that we hid the Mentor, you know. But
yeah, so like if our opponent needs to stream snipe to win, like they're probably hemorrhaging ticks anyway.
And we're sort of in a nice spot. And that's the problem with somebody knowing all of our plays from the elf side is that like he can play around Terminus really well when we're doing all this cantripping because he knows whether or not we have it, you know. I'm not saying all these things just to try to continue to salt and complain. I'm just like thinking about how it should affect our game play. So, a little bit odd. Yes, the snap is fine. So I think I don't want to cast anything. I just want to play land and pass.
Yeah, I want to save this for once we have the Mentor in play now.
Yeah.
That's the next level sideboarding. If you can stream snipe, then Cabal Therapy is obviously the best card in the game.
It's interesting because we might want to draw the Flusterstorm if we have a Spell Pierce target here.
Well, I need to Spell Pierce that because, you know, he's watching.
So if he fetches up a Dryad Arbor and sacks to the therapy, I think we force of will and play a mentor. I guess he has a creature to do this, but oh, he's not gonna. Yay! Yeah, so let's draw. I think we draw the fluster because we want that to be we need a blue card for the force, and we would like to keep the preordained for the next turn.
Sure.
Oh no, okay. So I keep on thinking about so he has perfect information. He didn't flash back the therapy. That makes me think what he's going to do.
Don't say it. It might happen.
I'm like, he wants to use the Finn Hormel for mana. So he may tap it for mana, flashback the therapy.
Yeah, I know. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah. But we're playing the mentor. We're not going to overthink the stream sniping. This is definitely what we would play here. The good news is he can't therapy and natural order this turn.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. I'm guessing this is going to be the card that he uses to flashback therapy, but
Hey, our opponent has never gotten a trophy on Magic Online.
nice. I love the announcement of that.
That all force because that's a wirewood.
So yeah, we have to, right? So force pitching the fluster.
This is game 3. We're probably very favored at this point.
Okay, sort of saw that coming.
So did they.
To be fair, I think that no, he didn't completely know our hand, or did he? We had one mysterious card.
I'm not going to play that in case we brainstorm. And I can just F6 through his turn because, he knows
they
our
knew
hand.
they knew we had preordained, but did we ever brainstorm after? No, we didn't. So yeah, they definitely knew that was the card in their hand. Oh, look at that. We will try. We just need to hit cantrips. If we hit like a cantrip run here, we can beat a visionary engine. That's really why I like Mentor. I know the chat's probably getting bored of me saying that. Yay!
All right, let's win the game.
Now, Gravey would be like cantrip into a plow. Cantrip into a plow would be great. Okay, I think we want to continuing comboing off, right?
Yeah.
We don't have AK, but we want all of it, so yeah. The question is do we keep the Jace?
I don't think so.
Well, let's think about it, because what are the chances we need one prowess trigger on the next turn to win the game? Because it would be 100% we would have it as a prowess trigger.
Sure. All right, so I guess an attack for probably just 3 this turn.
He'll fog one, yeah.
Fog.
So or it'll be 4 because we accumulate knowledge.
Sure.
So I'll get a 10, and he'll be able to fog one more time, but we'll have. So I think it will be not lethal by
Yeah.
by 2 damage.
I'm going to bottom this.
Yep, that's reasonable. Top that, play the land. Swing.
Do I just cast this, or?
I just cast after he clutters blocks, but yeah. Either way, doesn't matter. Well, actually, no. We'll think about this for a second. So we don't. Do we want to get in for 1 extra and have 1 other token, or be able to use this on the next turn?
Yeah, it might be better. I'm going to pass priority. Let him
Okay.
bounce if he needs to. Sure. I'm just going to let this happen now.
Yeah, because that is basically 4 damage by saving it. Yeah, that's smart to hold it. They don't still have therapy in their yard, actually. They use the therapy, they just have a thought seize. It feels really good that, like, it would normally be very annoying to see all this visionary crap, but, like, who cares? You're right, it does look like a therapy, but fortunately it's a thought seize. No. Yeah, I'm always interested to sort of think about what their split could be of, like, glimpses and natural orders they boarded out for all this discard and trophies.
I think a lot of people opt to really trim down on that stuff in order to just try to outgrind miracles.
All right, hopefully we draw something here. That feels a little bit unlucky, but I know it's not working out for us right now, but this is why I like running the lower lands in miracles, like what we are running, which is 19 as opposed to 20 or 21, because you get in these situations where you need the cantrips. We didn't have the Jace Arkin. We were running 12 1-mana cantrips, so we're running the full 4 preordains, and we're also running 4 accumulated knowledges. Yeah, hindsight, guys, if we knew, the Jace is better than drawing 2 lands, but a Jace would have been worse than, like, any efficient spells being able to get us more efficient spells. So while it wouldn't have been crazy to keep the Jace, I think that there's definitely a case for, why we kept the AK.
Yeah, I think it was correct to bottom the Jace, and I think that thinking otherwise is probably just being too results oriented with what happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
If that Jace had been a preordain or a ponder, this game might have already ended.
Totally. It'd be golden.
From the other side of the table, AK has felt like an upgrade over predict to me.
I agree with that.
All right, abrupt decay on the mentor isn't even all that annoying, honestly.
Yeah, fortunately, we're able to get out the 4 that we have, the 4 tokens. I mean, I will say it's not. It's annoying, but at least they're not winning the game yet.
Do I play this out or keep it?
I think I would keep it at this point.
Because I can still just play a land and hardcast Terminus.
Yeah, if we get to the point where you have to do that. So I think that we need to not attack
I
because
agree.
them trading off their creatures for our little ones is good for them. So they're playing Decay and Trophy, Thoughtseize, and Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, most of the gas is probably out of their deck.
What's the split these days? Like, is it like 2 and 2 on Decays and Trophies or something? Or like something weird where they're playing like singletons or?
I think it is a split, but I don't know what the ratio is. I haven't been keeping tabs on like what Julian's been up to, or like Julian hasn't been streaming because he's been in like Kenya, so I haven't watched any Elves content.
Yeah. We have a vote for Vincer over Predict in the chat. He paid 2 life for that.
Yep. Even though he has multiple bayous.
He has a lot of mana. Was that? Did he not even remove the card?
No. I mean, are we surprised at this point? No.
Right.
I need to counter that, right?
Yes.
Just stop those shenanigans.
Yep. Yeah, these are the matchups where like a cavern would randomly be pretty sick for him. So I'm glad that he didn't have that.
I think I cast that.
Well, let me think. So we could hard cast it, and we're not behind yet. We're still on time. Don't cast it because we have 1 minute and 30 seconds, right?
Attack, then cast.
I would pass the turn, and we need to try to win with these monks.
Sure.
Let's try to get. Yeah. Let's just. I wasn't even like looking at the time. Oh, I guess we got punished for. Actually, wait a second. Let him do this. Don't say anything. Okay. I'm like, I can't talk through these things. I don't want to remind him what's. Well, I'm sorry that I led us astray on not casting that into trying to win.
It's fine.
Based on time, but. That's annoying. It's annoying because like in any regular game, we definitely would cast that there. It's just like.
Yeah, we are effectively 3-0. Like unquestionably, we would have won that third game without the screen sniping, and we probably would have won the other game we lost as well.
Well, think about it. His entire game plan was like full information therapies, thought seizing, knowing what we're brainstorming on top of our deck. Like that was like the first 3 turns of the game.
Yeah, Anurag, he was watching the entire time. 3 different times he Cabal Therapied the card I drew each turn. Unquestionable.
Yeah, and Anurag, one time it was literally an accumulated knowledge when he knew the other cards in our hand.
It was
we drew an
special.
Accumulated knowledge, and then he named that.
No, if I cover my screen, then Wilson can't see. And I already said this, but I would rather produce good content than like stop talking about my plays and covering up my screen and just have my guests sit here for half an hour. I'd rather just continue to produce decent content.
Yeah, but I mean, Anurag, you could do that, but at the same time, it's like we want everybody to know what we're doing. So even if it's not just me, like in general, So I'm hoping that this is
Oh,
like
wow.
some belcher
Street
deck.
Wraith cycle miss.
So he mulliganed?
No, he didn't mulligan. So,
I think he did, right? Because he would have discarded a
oh,
card.
okay. So is this Death Shadow or is this just like Dredge and
It could be dredge off the mole. I think that that's more likely than a death shadow at this point, but who knows? So maybe just
I think just land pass.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna counter that. I think
Yes.
that gets it into the graveyard, and then things are bad.
Thinking if we should do anything first, like brainstorm or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I could find it. Excuse me, a spell pierce.
Yeah. I think we should do that. Let's try it. Man, that's just like I know I keep talking about it. It's just that's tilting that guy was. That wasn't like really a real match of Magic.
So I think I'm pretty far away from Jace.
Yeah, what are we thinking? Like Jason Swords
Jason
back?
Swords. Keep all this blue stuff.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Are we like pitching the AK because we're not playing that game really?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's possible that that Jace is better than a brainstorm. Like we already have two lands.
Let's do that. Let's do. If we do that, then we might just draw it maybe. So we like shuffle away the plow, draw the brainstorm maybe. And force with the AK. What do you think? Is that?
Yeah, I don't know whether or not I want to draw this brainstorm or whether or not I just want to like try to find a different cantrip or land.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to shuffle if you want to do that. I could go either way on this one.
Yeah, same. Like if I just randomly spike a mentor or another cantrip that like digs properly, I'd rather have that than the brainstorm.
I think you're right. Mentor's so high ceiling here against like a deck like Dredge. Yeah, Jide him. I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to have kept the brainstorm. The thing is, like,
well, it's irrelevant. I do think I want to cast this one now.
I think so too.
Yeah, this is fine.
Now we're glad we have the Jace.
Put back Terminus too deep, and then hide the Jace on top.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yep. So we're gonna pitch the brainstorm here probably, and then hope to brainstorm into another blue card.
I don't think our opponent's gonna cast anything. I think they're just gonna heart. What is this art?
Never seen that.
All right.
All right. Well.
So, do I want to dig for Mentor, or do I just want to try to actually win the game with this Jace?
I don't think we're going to win the game, given the pressure from Dredge. So I think we should dig. You're tempted to +2 on ourselves. We knew that we had a Terminus on top, White Callum. So would you have maybe wanted to bottom it, or sort of interested to know what you think? So. Yeah, they need to Street Wraith into Crid, and yeah, they would be able to kill it. Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable what you're saying.
Well, that was not a good dredge from them. They did not hit another Dredger. They didn't hit an Icarid.
Yeah, the issue is just like he's this, pitch a Dredger game plan is really good against what we have going on right now. It's sort of irritating. But
So note, if I was playing miracles on a more regular basis, I would like turn on like miracle bluff. Just
the bluff. Hey, is Honorable get in the chat? He's a big fan of the bluff.
all right. So do I just want to kick things off with brainstorm?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, I like that.
Hooray. That's great. So because we got mentor, I think we're going to get rid of the terminus.
Yeah, I think I want to put back Terminus Island.
Yep. Shuffle.
And then Jace.
And then brainstorm with Jace and hope to hit a 1-mana cantrip.
Well, I guess I can brainstorm with Jace first.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of annoying. I mean, it's like still not terrible. I would do like terminus and
second Jace.
Let's think about it because he has a therapy. So
I guess Terminus second mentor or Terminus force.
Yeah, it could even be Terminus force given the therapy situation.
Yeah, I think I put Terminus 2 down.
Yep. And then play mentor. Hopefully the cleverness, our attempt to be clever doesn't come back to bite us, but I think just the fact that he has the therapy in there makes that make sense.
All right, double Icarid there.
Ooh.
Well, this is getting forced.
Yeah.
Literally whatever it is. It cannot happen. Pitch Jace. Yep. AK can maybe get us started going somewhere.
Yeah, this will... AK could be the next... I think we have to think, like, do we want to cast it or... But... Maybe we need to cast AK to get a card deeper on the Jace brainstorm.
To just try to better have a blue card for the force.
Yeah, like a blue card for force and then also hit cantrips. Like there's no way, right, that like 3 cards are not going to be blue. I mean, there's a way, but it seems unlikely.
There is also a world where I just like
mentor,
play second mentor, then cast AK.
Yeah, you could play
I guess regardless, mentor. Jace happens.
Well, the question is like if we AK first, you would Jace after to go deeper, but now you sort of talk me into like I almost want to Jace first because
I think I want to Jace first to see if I can like double mentor shenanigans.
Yeah, totally. I think that you're right about that. So we know one of these is not blue. Ooh, that's really good.
So now I can play second mentor, cast AK, and then have force with counterspell to pitch.
And I don't know if I would even cast AK yet. I might hold up counterspell and consider pitching the AK to the force so you have 2 counter magic cards up on your opponent's turn.
Oh, I see.
So like put back Terminus in the fetch land, play the second mentor, and just keep up our stuff. Miss out on 2 damage, but I think having 2 counter spells on like a what seems to be like a fairly critical turn like this is okay.
Yeah, the scariest thing is actually if our opponent has another land that they were holding.
That is very scary.
I don't think that's the case. That was a much better dredge. So now there's a bridge in there, there's a therapy in there.
Yeah. Hey Phil, are you there?
I am. Are we getting a little bit of lag? Test, test, test. Okay. I lost Wilson for some reason. So. Bear with me. It still looks like I have the call, but I've lost his picture. Okay, Wilson has lost internet. I'm going to go ahead and continue on. I'm going to let this Cabal therapy happen. I have, spells either way here. If there's something actually scary as a follow-up, I can still counter it no matter what. Oh, in all of that, I didn't notice they were targeting themselves. If I noticed they were targeting themselves, I would have 100% countered that. That one's on me. I'm not sure how much I care about protecting Jace. I might actually be close to the point where I'm just the aggro deck. So I know I have Terminus on top right now. I could AK Terminus away their Icarids, but... Hey, are you back? Can you hear me?
I am back.
Okay. Do I need to reshare screen, or do you still have that?
Nope, I still have it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so our opponent, Cabal Therapy, target themselves, put some Grave Trolls into the graveyard. I countered a Careful Study. Now it's our main phase, and I'm trying to decide how aggressive to be. I know I have Terminus on top of my library.
Mm-hmm. Have we used Jace?
No. So I kind of just want to try to end this game rather than Terminus them out.
We can't. I don't think we're going to win by Terminus at all. Like, they've got the longevity with the Icarids and the dredging. I think we've got to kill them.
All right, so I think I want to fetch, then Brainstorm.
Okay, another thing we could do is accumulated knowledge after fetching to dig a little bit deeper before we brainstorm.
Okay, I like that.
Okay. And I would do it.
This one before Brainstorm?
Yes. Yep.
We get pretty deep, and I might just draw like double cantrip and just get to kill our opponent.
Yeah. If we draw a double cantrip, we could even like consider Jace bouncing.
Okay, so I can Jace, bounce, Swords to Plowshares, a monk, hold priority, spell pierce. My opponent could block.
So you definitely want to Swords one of their guys, because getting rid of the blocker is going to be more damage than the life they gain from it.
Okay.
Instead of one of our monks, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I was thinking about it. So the Jace bounce, Swords one, they have two blockers, like you're saying. You get that in. We have 3 guys. Still not going to be able to kill them.
Yeah, so I guess
you're going to be able to 4.
I can Jace, bounce a zombie, Swords a Narc Amoeba.
So they have one bridge in the graveyard?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, that definitely feels good. This is kind of what we were talking about, right? Like this is the upside of playing Mentor. Like traditional miracles versus dredge, like in game one, it's not a happy place to be. Here we've at least got a shot. And now I feel pretty favored.
Yeah.
Like things can still go wrong, especially if they're playing, Flamekin Zealot or something. But otherwise, this is over.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, the deck list is actually on screen. If you click the cards on the left-hand side, the Cardboard Live extension that this guy actually made, you can check it out. Actually, I don't even need to cast this to have lethal. I just have way over lethal, but...
But clicking is fun. Elvish Spirit Guide Fog. I like the double block.
I respect it.
Yeah. Okay, that was sweet.
So, Surgical Extraction. Pretty decent magic card. Let's play that.
Is it? Is that good here?
I feel like, even though we're on the Mentor clan, we probably do want another Terminus, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And we probably need the Fluster for early interaction.
So this might be a matchup where, like, yeah, it's Council Judgment. I think you were just hovering over it.
Yeah.
Is probably bad. Maybe boarding it. So Jace isn't great. We do have 4 Terminus. Sometimes I would consider boarding out accumulated knowledges in a matchup like it's sort of like weird like this, but I don't know. It may be better than the Jace. Yeah, actually that's right. We do need the EE. Somebody's pointing that out.
Oh, yeah, that's another out to zombie tokens. Yeah, I feel like Jace is kind of rough.
It's not great. Like I aggressively board out Jason so much this, like I come across as biased probably. Like if I were sitting here and nobody was watching, I would like probably slap out the Jason.
Like I kind of want to cut the Jaces, and I think I want to trim a land.
Yep.
And then I don't know exactly what to do from there.
We could cut. It's weird to say, but like is 2 counterspell like is it too slow?
Yeah. Do I
They're
want to
also
keep
pointing
one?
out Pyroblast. You keep 1, okay.
That was a question. Like, do I keep one?
Oh,
I don't know. Like, I
either,
definitely want
but
like Flusters and Pierces over this.
yeah. I mean, this looks pretty good. I'm not sure what else we would board out. Like, the snap is good because of surgical. Yeah, I mean, I think this looks good to me.
Yeah. So White Faces in chat is saying like we could consider Disenchant for, oh god, what's it called? Silent Gravestone.
Yeah, that's actually relevant. I haven't played much Magic, I guess current Dredge to think about that, but that's definitely seems correct to me. So,
all right. What do we pull? 30 seconds.
running out of time. Geez, I don't know.
Is 4 Terminus too many?
Yeah, maybe. Let's just trim some Terminus.
and then pull up preordain?
Yeah, let's do it. That's good. I would consider, like, for game 3, boarding out accumulated knowledges. I don't know though. I mean, obviously, like, we want the spells for the mentors, so
Mull?
I think I would mulligan this because yeah, it just doesn't really have any interaction right now. So
That one's worse.
yeah, he also mulliganed to 5. I would keep. I would
I
probably
think I
keep
keep
as,
this.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, there's that silent gravestone you were talking about.
Hey, explosives is good against that.
Yeah, I think I just ponder though.
Well, let's think about it.
Actually, I guess if I play explosives this turn, I can crack it next turn, and then turn 3, try to ponder into Grave Fate.
Yeah, that's one line. I'm sort of torn. I don't really have a great decision here because we could bait him into, like, if we don't have explosives, he's more wants to play out more gravestones if he has a really weird hand like that. Maybe just go with your first instinct to ponder. Because we do need. Okay.
I think I'm going to ponder.
Okay, I think that's reasonable.
I don't have white mana.
Right. I think you just have to shuffle because of that. We still do not have white mana.
Well,
Okay.
we have a good old-fashioned cripple fight going on here. So
because of the way this game is playing out, I don't think I would play.
I don't think I play the EE now. I think I try
Yeah.
to cast Disenchant on this if I need to. Otherwise, I can save this for zombies.
Yep. That's where I'm at too.
All right.
No dredger.
No dredger.
There's no dredger. What? Okay.
Planes.
Darn.
I think I just want to cast this and see what's below it.
Yep.
All right. Am I doing this on 1? I don't really want to.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think that you do, especially because, like, we have this mentor and, like, explosives could start to make monks in, like, a really clunky game of, like, people not doing stuff. So it's funny that he has another gravestone he pitched. So
Results.
do we have another stream sniper?
Nope.
Yay!
I'm really
Good
surprised
fellow.
Jace is the name there.
Yeah, that's really weird. Sort of. Actually, it's not horribly weird because we're not doing literally anything. We didn't counter his faithless looting, so he's like, this guy's just gonna play Jace.
All right.
Yep.
Come on. White mana. Yes.
Yay!
I do think I only want one of these, though, right?
Yeah, because we just want one and then get cantrips after that.
Monastery Mentor, here to save the day from the bad guys.
Is this a hardcast Narcomoeba? Into a flashback of all therapy? Hey, that's not the worst thing for him, like, because he knows her hands, so he's going to get the something. And have a zombie.
Oh, no. I'm really surprised. Well, maybe not really surprised.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a lot of drawing. I think that's what we do, right? So that we can maybe get another cantrip and go off.
Yeah, I think I play the island and leave Tundra up.
Yeah, yeah, because the upside of drawing the plow here is really, really good. Those AKs were like, I heard Wilson talking about boarding us out.
Yeah. So I
Did we play a land? We did not, right?
no, I
can't
played
remember.
island this turn.
You did play island this
Yeah.
turn? Okay.
So
still think we go ahead and attack.
I think so.
Yeah. I think if he okay, now we don't have to worry about that anyways.
Just
Okay.
pass now?
Yeah, I'd pass here. And if we, we have the option of prowessing. I think based on the hand, we are probably going to EOT the brainstorm to make sure we go wide enough to have lethal. It feels good in these post-sideboard games because I think that he boards out stuff like breakthrough.
Brainstorm in response.
I think we do need a brainstorm, yeah.
Hello.
So even though he doesn't know about it, well, let's think. I think we need to protect the accumulated knowledge because it's like so insane.
I think I put back AK with surgical below it.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking though is like, so he knows about disenchant and engineered explosives.
Mm-hmm.
So are we okay if he names disenchant and takes two of them?
Oh, probably
Or
not.
do we want to?
Yeah. So AK
I was
with
thinking we put the
disenchant below.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He doesn't know about surgical, but he can flashback and get it, but it doesn't really matter. Like we just want to we're just gonna kill him on the next turn. Yeah, that's a good point, Jide him. That's an important thing to keep in mind in this matchup. Killing our own guys removes his bridges when we're in a pinch.
Yeah. And now he really needs to sack this zombie. Oh, no. Because otherwise I have, like, disenchant plus surgical at the ready.
Yeah, this is, like, pretty sick.
Well, I guess I'll accumulate knowledge first.
You can even...
Oh, our opponent might just be dead now.
Yeah, the swords is good.
Yeah, so swords this, then brainstorm, then dead.
Yeah, you could even swords, brainstorm, spell pierce your brainstorm if we have to. Let's see what the... This is going to be at 16. Oh, we have like way...
3, 6,
way
9. Enough. Yeah, we have 13 already.
Sweet. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be 17.
Yep.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Like it feels like they're trying to make all these unfair zombie tokens, and we're just making more monks, which is fun, to say the least.
All right, so we're effectively 4-0 in this league. It's feeling good.
This has been going well.
So Wilson, while we're queuing into this next one, do you just kind of want to give us all a brief snippet about some of the things Cardboard Live is doing? Because like I know most of the people around here are kind of at least familiar with what it is since I've been using it, but you want to say anything more about it?
Totally. So we two big things we've been working on is the e-commerce integration where people can actually buy cards through a stream and support the streamer. So the streamer will make commissions on any cards that you want to buy. If you're thinking of, playing a bunch of mentors in your miracles deck and you think Phil's doing a good job of showing those to you and you want him to make some money on that, we're going to integrate so that he can make commissions. And then the image recognition on physical Magic cards in the physical game streaming is very close, and we're really excited about that. So people may have seen like Star City using our extension for their opens. Some other people are going to start to use it for physical, the paper Magic streaming, and our image recognition pretty soon will let the viewer like hover over blurry images of cards and click on them and expand them and buy them if they want to, and all these other things. So those are the two big things we're excited about. And then lastly, I guess, is you can invest in our company. We talked a little bit about that earlier, but if you go to this website called Republic, this is republic.co, you can find Cardboard Live. And if you think what we're doing is sweet and has potential to be a successful business, you can actually be part of that for as little as $10.
Well, first, to answer the question in the chat, if you're playing Miracles, you really don't want to play against things that are decks that are casting really big, stupid things. So, for example, like Eldrazi Post would be a very, very scary matchup.
Yeah, it's traditionally not a great matchup, even though, I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but Mentors help out a lot against that.
Yeah, back when Joe Lissette was playing all the time, like one of the things I watched him do to like try to make it better was like go and play around with like Venser Caracas, just try to keep bouncing the lands forever, hope that works.
Right.
Ooh. We're gonna have a fun one. We're gonna play against Matt Soul, who is probably going and playing 4-color Loam.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that's his like go-to, so that's sweet.
So this is not necessarily the texture of hand that I want against them, but I have a Force for an early Chalice, and I have multiple Mentors, which can be very good in the matchup. Is this good enough, or is this too awkward?
I think it's good enough, particularly like number of cards does matter, and we have stuff that matters, and we can cast it. So yeah, I'd keep. You're right, that's not like amazing by any means.
I don't really like having bulk in my opener here. Like that feels pretty bad. Like I really just want to fetch basics out for this matchup. Yeah, that's fine.
So this is that deck, you think? Green Sun into Dryad Arbor? Or do you think he's playing Elves?
I mean, based on every time I've seen him playing, it's been like 4-color Loam or something thereabouts. So
okay,
I'm relatively confident.
Good job on Phil for playing around
Force.
Wasteland. Yeah.
I think pitching the Snapcaster since I don't have any targets right now.
I agree with that.
Man, if we didn't pitch the Snapcaster, we might have gotten the cheeky block. Oh, great. Now I can just fetch basics and do this.
Yep.
Just another island, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Even though, obviously, we get punished by our Singleton Council Judgment, but this is still definitely what we want to do. Jace is nice. Jace is really nice.
Do I just Jace unsummon Dryad Arbor?
I think you do. I think that's really strong with what's going on over there.
It's like super awkward if he rips red land off the top and Punishing Fires.
Yeah, but
I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean
I
that
just
we would
I just
know that
wanted
that
to
would
say that in case it happened, just so I could like say I know what can happen.
that is very fair.
All right, that's a thing.
Okay. I mean, it's annoying. I'm tempted to do this one more time.
I think I just want to do it one more time and cast a mentor.
Yeah.
And now if our
I also
opponent
think-
punishing fires, I can protect it with the brainstorm.
Yeah, and I think that we probably are going to just like, yay!
Oh, minus me, daddy. Do it. Yeah. Magic is such a good game.
That's cool. Okay.
I think I'm gonna brainstorm no matter what, so I should just do it now.
Yep, that's reasonable. This is sort of nice. Like, sure, we can get killed by a toxic deluge, but like the chalice is so scary that I think that we're going like double mentor preordain
I agree.
and killing the Liliana. But like you said earlier, we just got to call their out, which is the
So usually Toxic Deluge is like not in the deck right now.
okay.
So I'm not going to like play around that card too much, especially in game one scenarios. It's something that can be in the sideboard, but it's not popular right now.
It's good to know.
So I want EE, I want Gideon.
I feel good about the disenchants just because we've also seen Sylvan libraries, so we're gonna have like
Yeah, and there's even just Mox Diamonds as well.
Yep,
And
Mox
then
Diamonds.
the best,
He likely has choke. Oh yeah,
the best card in the matchup right here.
I think maybe.
I want to trim on some of our removal.
Yeah.
Like they're still gonna have bobs that really matter, but a lot of at least some of the creatures are going to get trimmed in this matchup so that they can play more of a planeswalker based game.
So what do you think about like Terminus trimming on that?
I think Terminus is pretty medium.
Yeah, I agree. Let's trim on Terminus. I don't know how I feel about what to trim from here. This is like pretty tough. Like they have some high impact stuff, so like you sort of want Force of Will, particularly on the draw. But
And I also like while Spell Pierce isn't exactly amazing a lot of the times, like they have so many planeswalkers. Like there's probably gonna be like 4 Lily of the Veils, a Lily Last Hope, and a Johnny Vengeant, maybe a Garruk.
yeah, I think Spell Pierce is awesome. So this is like a really tough spot. So we need to board out 3 cards. Chat, what do you think? I could cut counter. What did we cut for the third Spell Pierce? All right, everybody help us.
All right, I think I want to trim some number of counter spells. Like maybe trim a counter spell, trim a force, trim a second force, or maybe trim a swords.
I want all the swords because of like the Bob stuff, you know. Maybe another force even.
Or just a preordained hedge against Chalice a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Good call. I like that.
Yeah, one.
I like to pierce a decent amount here, but
I don't think I can mulligan this hand.
No,
we're just a little, cold to a turn 1 Chalice.
That's right.
No, we're not.
Yay.
I do think I want to fire off the preordain and start trying to sculpt.
Yep.
I think I'll take the Ponder bottom the swords.
Yep, I think that's great. Let's potentially our force of will fodder here, I think. He knows about the back to basics plan. Okay, so yeah, we need to pitch the punter because we have like a duel that we'll probably shuffle off the brainstorm.
So
I think I like brainstorming. I would say either Tundra and another fetch.
I think Tundra Tarn.
Yep.
And then play Strand.
That makes sense.
Because this can fetch our basic planes. Because we have effectively another basic island in hand already. And that's another basic planes for Gideon.
Right.
I think I'm just going to pass the turn.
Yep, play the Tarn and pass. Oh, this feels pretty good.
Yep.
Do you think he's feeling safe behind like a red blast or something?
Nah,
Also, I think that we're.
He won't have blasts if he's a Chalice deck.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
It's
Okay, so this,
he's more likely to be playing around back to basics right now by not tapping out.
yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, I want to play this to make a guy. We may need to force an assassin's trophy, but
Yeah, 100% willing to do so.
yep. Just make sure we don't F6. Okay.
I'm fine with that happening, though.
Yep. So maybe, yeah, he's playing like he's holding the growth. Yay. So I'm thinking this turn should consist of attacking, making another guy, mentoring, and brainstorming.
Do I make another guy, or do I just like plus the Gideon? Because
Okay.
I'd like to get this out of Punishing Fire range.
You're right. I think that that's actually that'd be a smart play. Trying to think of. Yeah, that's good. I feel like my suggestions are becoming worse in this last.
I mean, it's tiring to talk through your plays like this when you're not used to it.
Right.
Do you think I play Mentor?
So we know the reasons not to, but I think I mean all we have is the Gideon Knight. He's not doing anything. I think we should, given that we have the force of will. Like, what are the chances he has like multiple ways of punishing going wide? And so, okay, yeah, that's good. That's fine. I was like thinking, okay, so I would still brainstorm to make the guy. I think.
Sure. Nice.
Very nice.
That is everything I could possibly want.
Yeah. So just keep the card that we think we're going to pitch to force in our hand, which I think is accumulated knowledge, maybe.
Yeah, so I think I'm putting back these two cards. The question is, like, which one do I want to cast next turn?
Yeah. Like, is Spell Pierce going to hit anything, or is that going to be the card we pitch? You know?
Maybe it's Spell Pierce that we pitch. All right, but which...
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I don't know. Because, like, Back to Basics is, like, the best card in the matchup, and our opponent just burned an Abrupt Decay very aggressively.
Yeah.
Maybe I could just bury Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I think you should let's do, like, yeah.
Bury Swords to Plowshares, hide Back to Basics on top.
Great. I like it. I like that. Hmm. Makes me think he probably has another decay. I mean, for several reasons. One is that he's not doing anything. So
So 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not going to present lethal this turn, so I don't think I need to like play anything pre-combat. I just think I want to attack in with what I have and see what happens.
So yeah, are you gonna make a dude though instead of plus the Gideon this time because we'll still be lethal next turn, or what are your thoughts on that? And actually, it's like sort of maybe you just plus Gideon, right?
I think I just
Because even
plus
if
Gideon.
yeah, because then they'd have to deal with Gideon, and then we'd still have lethal, but off the monk token. If they don't do anything, do you want to AK to get one extra damage, or
I think I'd rather cast one of Jace or Back to Basics.
okay?
Probably Jace at this point, since my opponent hasn't tapped any mana.
Golgari charm. So now we can, if you want to, you can save the monk with the AK.
Is that just better than casting Jace or Back to Basics, though?
Probably not.
Probably not.
He only has 2 cards. Yeah, I guess not.
Because like we have lethal damage with these next turn.
Right.
I'm not sure if Jace or Back to Basics increases our win percentage more.
I sort of like the fact that we can now back to basics and have Spell Pierce up, and Spell Pierce becomes more relevant with the 2 that aren't going to untap.
Sure.
I mean,
like an Abrupt Decay would be a little annoying, but
right. But I mean,
we can beat Assassin's Trophy or another Golgari Charm.
Yeah. Okay, so he has decay, is what it looks like. Oh, another charm. So definitely, I would definitely force, because then we have Spell Pierce, and he's basically
force, pitch, AK, and then have Spell Pierce for whatever's left over.
Yep. That's brutal. Yay!
All right, so that was effectively a 5-0 night. Right. I'm counting that as a 5-0 in our books.
Yeah, for anybody that didn't see it, we played against somebody who was therapying and screen watching, and it was brutal. So,
all right.
But yeah, this was really fun. Thanks for including me on this.
Yeah. So, do you have any sort of closing thoughts on the deck list? Because it felt very good to me.
Yeah, I really liked it. So when I play this kind of deck, and if I'm going to play at a competitive event, I might get obsessive over sideboard mapping, because the only thing that I thought about our deck list is there were these matchups where we were unsure about like 1 or 2 slots boarding in and out. And I think if we were to tune the list to be like perfectly sideboard mapped, we'd probably have maybe a couple different sideboard slots. But other than that, like, I really love the game plan of this deck and the main deck and the 4 mentors. I thought the Spell Pierce plan was cool, and I just absolutely love the consistency of having 4 preordains. It's just like all cantrips, and I don't know. I mean, the mentors did so much work in all of the matches we played.
Yeah,
it was
just
incredible.
About every time we resolved a mentor, over the course of 2 or 3 turns, we just won the game.
Yeah.
Even from some very bad situations.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, people, the opponent always underestimates those situations. So it's like we elved elves in the one game that we won. We out-dredged dredge. We were able to like get really aggro against a storm deck.
Yeah, and even in this last matchup, like, it was a little hard to tell what exactly our opponent had going on, but it looked like, this time they just drew too much interaction and not anything proactive, and we really got to punish that with Mentor. Well, and Gideon first, but Mentor would have been the same.
Well, Mentor in game one was really sick because they sort of stifled themselves on land, but like it's how you like press your advantage, you know? Because that's the problem with miracles in the modern era of not having top is that sometimes you just sort of sputter out and you spin your wheels long enough where if they can get back in the game and you want to like in the game before they get back into it. Mentor does that. I like Phil's Gideon that he put in the deck last second. Both times we boarded that in, it won the game. So we beat Grixis with it right in round one, and then obviously we won this last game with it, which was cool.
Yeah. So Wilson sent me this deck list, and the only card I changed was the Gideon. I just felt like we needed one more piece of fat for the sideboard, and just something to bring in for control matches. Do you remember what we cut? Oh, it was a second Flusterstorm, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we figured since we had 3 Spell Pierces in the main deck, we were probably okay on that front anyway.
Yeah, and I didn't really feel like we missed that at all. So some of that is sometimes a matchup thing, but there's just so many of those cards. It's like sometimes even hard to figure out how much to board out if you have like a 5th 1-mana counter spell. So yeah, I know it was a good cut.
Yeah, if you're going to play Miracles like seriously in tournaments, I really suggest that you sit down and for maybe the top 10 or so matches of Legacy, like figure out how you are going to board and make sure your board plan works and you know what you're doing, because the mental energy and time it takes to figure out sideboarding on the fly with a complicated deck, it's not where you want to be.
That's right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, cool. It always feels good to do the stream, and things generally go pretty well for the deck, so I feel good about it. But does chat have any parting thoughts or questions? We appreciate everybody for being here. I noticed that there was a decent amount of the Miracles Cabal who showed up at various points in the evening, which was fun.
Yeah, 3 Pierce specifically in the Mentor version makes a lot of sense. It makes less sense in a more traditional deck. You know, if you're playing Entreat the Angels, by the time you get to that, Spell Pierce is probably really bad, right? So it's context that makes the cards better here.
Exactly. Yeah, the way everything works together is nice. So you even feel better about playing lower land count and additional cantrips in a deck that has all the mentors because you need to be drawing the gas later on in the game.
Can we get Wilson on leaving a legacy 5 times this year? The world needs more.
Well, there's a group on Facebook where you can comment about that. I believe it's called the Leaving a Legacy Community Group.
It's a strong group.
So
Tom, by the way, I need to get ticks from you for the Tainted Pact Rides Again deck list I put together. So just for giggles, I have this on my desktop, so I'm just going to pull it up. This is a deck list that I'm going to play on stream sometime. They posted in the Leaving a Legacy group asking if there were any streamers who wanted to play something, but they wouldn't really want to throw away the ticks to do it, and they'd fund it. And this was what I drafted up.
Oh man!
Tainted Pact Esper Control Toolbox.
This is certainly an emphasis on toolbox. I like it. There's one Augur of Bolus.
It's super cute.
Cool. That looks pretty fun. Kaya.
All right, great. All right, so Wilson, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you had fun. I will be back on Saturday morning, probably about 10 a.m. Eastern time, though it varies a little bit on the weekends. If you enjoyed tonight, please consider doing something to support Legacy, whether that's me or Cardboard Live or other streamers, and keep us going strong. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to someone else who is playing some Legacy, and I hope you all have a good rest.
Real quick.
Of the
Can
night.
I promote something real quick, Phil?
Yes,
Sorry.
please do.
We turn off. So because I know that you're not streaming tomorrow night now, I would like to give a shout out to Jarvis. Is that okay?
Oh, please do. Jarvis is great.
I'm actually going to be guesting on Jarvis's Legacy stream tomorrow night. So for me, it'll be back-to-back nights of Legacy streaming. So
great. What are you playing?
I think we're doing a couple Phoenix decks. So he wants to try to squeeze in 2 leagues if we can, and they're like different builds of Phoenix.
Yeah. So for anyone not familiar with it, like Arclight Phoenix is definitely a real card in Legacy. The generic combo right now is you buried alive to put 3 Phoenixes in the graveyard and then attack for 9 hasty damage. And 2 turns of that usually just has your opponent dead. It's a super powerful shell. The deck is real, much better than the mono red versions that were initially running around.
Yeah. Cool. Negator is saying that he's streaming potentially. Is that what he's saying down here? I don't know.
No, that's Tom Hepp. He has some ticks for me for the Tainted Pack deck list.
Oh. Oh, I see.
All right, so I'm going to send you over some more Legacy content, folks. Good night.